That counts.
Yeah. Thank you.
Lilith.
All right, gentlemen, let's do it real quick. We're about ready to go into the game. I want real fast
Lilith,
predictions
it
for
is
you.
good.
What do you got?
I mean, it's not
aggressively.
good. Right?
So I like that
game.
aspect of it.
Thank you.
I don't know what they're going to do about the
You've
birds.
used your turn.
The
Cinder,
gargoyles
go
are-
ahead.
What are they
I don't
called?
honestly don't really have a
Familiars.
favorite. I feel like
Gargoyles.
it's pretty much 50-50.
They were gargoyles.
If I have to
Liquid.
pick, if I have to pick, I'll take
Lilith.
Alliance. I think.
All right,
So
gentlemen,
we can-
let's do it
yeah.
real quick. We're about ready to go into the game. I want real fast
Lilith.
predictions. Let's go
Lilith.
check in with our casters. Thank you so much.
I like that.
Thank you. Casters, do you there? You've used your turn.
Oh, and it's
Cinder,
yes.
go ahead. Oh, and it's
I
always
don't
oh,
really
and it's
have a
five
favorite.
these
I feel
days.
like
Hey,
it's pretty much
how many
50-50.
TIs
If I have
can I
liquid,
listen?
if
You
I
know
have
what?
to pick, I'll
I
take
miss the
Lilith.
old days. Five, take the
Alliance.
rest.
I
All
think
right,
so.
gentlemen,
We go the
let's
opposite
do it
direction.
real quick. We're about ready to go into the game. I want real fast
Lilith.
predictions. Give me the
Lilith.
old days,
Lilith.
baby. Where's my boy
Lilith.
Drasky at? The old
Lilith.
Owen,
Lilith.
you've used your
Oh,
turn.
and it's
Cinder,
yes.
go ahead. Oh, and it's always
Thank
Owen.
you very
and
much.
five.
Andy, how you doing?
How many
Not
TIs
good.
can I
I'm
listen?
excited
If
to
I
be
have to
here,
pick,
ready
I'll
to
take
I
watch
miss
the
the old
Alliance
days.
versus
Bob,
Alliance.
take the rest. All right,
Obviously,
gentlemen,
the
let's
opposite
do it
maybe
real
the
quick.
most
We're about ready to
analytical panel, but it was at the very least entertaining. So happy to be here,
excellent.
happy to cast. You know.
Yes, I learned a lot, not necessarily about Dota, but pretty much about everything else from that last sort of 30 minutes of entertainment. But thanks a lot to, of course, Slacks, Suns fan, and Cinder for that excellent bit of analysis coming into this one. Alliance versus Liquid. Andy will sort of take it from where they led off. I mean, looking at these lineups, it's sort of 50-50 the panel. It's a bit split on this one. I mean, do you agree, or from your perspective, are you seeing a certain squad come out with a stronger hand?
I think I would probably favor Liquid very slightly, just because I feel like Liquid have always been this team where if you get Koikfa on a hero, you know, he's been called like the cheese picker. For example, he plays the Lone Druids, he plays the Broods, he plays the Visage, and I really feel like this is a very, very good Visage game. So I feel like they've set him up for success, but we'll see what happens. I guess slightly Liquid.
All right. Oh, well, we'll see if it plays out. I mean, I've got to agree, there's certain combos that look incredibly strong. If they're able to get the Axe Phoenix going in the team fight, obviously there are ways on Alliance to disrupt it. I mean, things like the S4 Brood coming in as the last pick, a hero that we don't really see a lot of teams like to play. Are you a believer in this hero, or do you think this is quite a tough one to make work in this meta?
I do feel like he's very good for this patch. You know, he's high tempo, his laning phase is usually pretty solid, he builds into fighting items, he's also fairly flexible. If you need him to initiate, he can. If you want him to be like that pipe carrier, crimson carrier, things like that, you can do that too. So I feel like if anyone's going to make it work, it's going to be S4. As Cinderin said, he's exceptional on this hero.
We'll have a look at the lane setups, and no real surprises with the way things are going to start. I mean, this bottom lane, Nico Baby farming on the safe lane as the Ursa. He is against a melee hero, but the backup of Tiger with the spirits it's got to be a little bit annoying, right, for the Ursa? Or would you still say this is a lane where Nico Baby should farm A-OK?
I think it's going to be down to levels. If Liquid can get a level advantage by like just securing more denies over time, the Phoenix level 3 is their big power spike, right? Level 2 Fire Spirits. That's when it becomes really a nuisance for Nico in this lane, but for now they should be okay.
We'll see on the other side of the map. S4 it's going to be dealing with Mickey and Insania on this top lane. Hansken constantly going to be on the lookout for angles to fisher in heroes and allow S4 to get in close and personal. Get some good harass into the face of the two of them, but as it is, S4. See on the CS how well he can do here. There's a big creep wave coming in under the tower that Mickey will have to farm it against his own tower's hits. Hansken now starting to make the pull to keep this lane in good standing for Alliance on the top. The mid lane matchup, Limp's Quap against Quakefa's Visage. Obviously the Quap picked up very early. Quakefa picking this Visage. This is a hero that he's picked into this Quap matchup because he feels very confident with how he can play it in the 1v1?
I feel it's more once you hit 6, you don't really care about your lane opponent that much anymore. You know, you get the familiars, you can farm really fast. You know, he does have the Helm of the Dominator queued up, so he's planning on allowing his team to kind of group up around him and just be that siege engine that his team kind of needed. Buy the Luna some time as well.
Yeah, and it's going to be really nice when it comes down to the big game fights, having that extra stun control around the egg just to make sure anyone that doesn't get caught by the initiation from the axe is also going to be stopped from being able to take down the Supernova. So we'll see how well his micro is able to come into play, and it does get down to that. So far though, nobody getting entirely bullied out of the first few waves. Down bottom, Nico Baby, CS 8 for 0 against the 11 for 3. Boxy just with the slightly better time. And on that bottom lane, do we imagine that we are going to see Boxy and Tiger consistently play the lane rather than starting to skip and pull creeps as the axe? Do you want to stick
I
here
would
in the face
imagine
of the bear?
so. Yeah, I would imagine that would be the case, just because when you can contest the core heavily, it always makes sense. You can see FNG taking a little bit of damage here from the Spirits, and he skilled his attendance level 1, just because he realizes in this lane it's going to be tough, as S4 also getting quite low on the top lane, but he's got a salve, so he'll be okay.
Yeah. And one thing they will do, though, is certainly farm the creeps behind the tower at least to keep the pressure and keep that opportunity open for potential dive-ins onto FNG if he does continue to get as low as he is. The mid lane, Hansken's come over with the movement, keeping an eye on Quakefer, seeing if he can get an opportunity with the level 1 Fisher, but it's not going to be the case. Quakefer keeping it smart, keeping his distance. Still though, that mid lane, the CS really starting to add up. Limp, we've seen it so many times here in this tournament. He just turns up in these 1v1s and he just bodies the enemy mid. It's 17-8 against the 9-for-2.
It's also important to note here that Hansken did kind of rotate over to mid. You can see right now that Alliance are using a scan as well, because they're worried that that boot shaker, when he's off the map, there is very high kill potential with just a fissure block onto a low level Visage. The hero is quite slow. And right now, like Liquid, their TP is a Phoenix and a Rubik, not the best.
Yeah, there's no instant way to sort of get in and threaten Limp, stop him from being able to back off if he's got a skill point to spare to throw into the blink. So definitely having to be careful, and that cautiousness allowing Limp to really take a hold of this 1v1 right now. Both heroes getting very low here. Limp's got the salve prepared. Quakefer, how's his regen going? Well, not the standard sort of regen. I mean, his man's sitting on a triple fairy fire. I don't think, well, not every day you get to see a triple fairy fire.
Yeah, he just wants that damage.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, you have to assume that he knew the Hansken was going to be making those rotations as well, so maybe he's looking to potentially bait them like too far into the tier 1 dive, get a nice return kill.
Sure.
Be a nice swing for them in the mid lane.
I mean, no one expects the triple fairy fire. That's a certain. Quakefer will now get himself a salve out. Will be able to keep himself back up to full HP. So far in the lanes, nobody yet to fall. We've had a lot of games with a lot of chaos incredibly early, but this time around, first 5 minutes, no kills quite yet from either side. See on the farm who's really losing out the most. It is S4 on that top lane and Quakefer in the middle lane, where you're seeing the lack of farm show the most after the first 5 minutes. Farm for the carries, Mickey 24 for 9 up top, 27 on Nico Baby down bottom, so both hitting a very sort of similar gain from the laning stage. And you would imagine on the Ursa, Andy, we're going to see probably the Battle Fury again, would you imagine?
I mean, I've seen it a lot, so I have no reason to believe otherwise. I do feel like their lineup is probably more like early mid-game focused. So maybe he might lean towards something a bit earlier like a Basher, but we haven't seen it in a while, so...
No.
Seems everyone really likes just having that extra farm potential, like Cinderin was saying earlier on the panel as well. As a Boxy is... He's
on a
getting
walk.
himself a double wave here.
He's gonna, attract a bit of attention. Limp's gonna come across. He wants to get involved for this kill. He's not even gonna need to use the Sonic Wave. They step over and they quickly shut Boxy out of this area. It's one of the things, Limp being a co-op, it's not too hard for him to make the journey over with the blink, close the gap and get involved. And he'll quickly be able to return to the lane and not really miss out on much at all with the wave pushed in. It's going to push back and he barely misses a creep. Also able to find a regen room for the bottle. Things getting better and better for Limp in this whole start of the game in this middle lane. 33-16 on the CS, getting involved in kills. It's a perfect Queen of Pain start.
Yeah, and you expect Limp, this is a comfort zone hero for him as well, so I would assume that he's just going to continue to just snowball that game to his advantage. I wouldn't even be surprised to see them make more rotations to this bottom lane, because Boxy is kind of their tempo. If his timings are bad, I feel like Liquid's draft could just fall apart, right? If he doesn't get his Blink Dagger timing, whatever tanky item he's going to get, because he's the one who has to go in, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if he can't go in, the game is going to get real messy.
They've got to help his game out for sure. Top lane, S4. Getting gone on a bit by Mickey and Insania. They get the telekinesis back into the Lucent Beam. He's got the one charge though, has the extra speed required for the Brawler as he runs his way out of the top lane. And back to safety, back on mid. Hansken again continuing to eye up potential onto Quakefer. Not quite able to get close enough. It's just 1 for 0, and Nico Baby queuing up. I mean, the question is going to be, Nico Baby as the Ursa with the Battle Fury, how do you think his farm compares to Mickey as a Luna? Like when we see sort of these periods where it's going to go down to clearing out the jungle, like who farms faster in your mind, a Luna or an Ursa with a Battle Fury?
I think Luna's pretty much the queen of farm speed, and the cool thing about her is she doesn't really require much investment. That's like one of the big benefits of having the heroes. The glaives just do most of the heavy lifting for you. So you can just, you know, hit your jungle, buy whatever items you feel like you need at that point in time. Whereas Ursa, you are sacrificing your early game potential. So instead of having, like we saw for a good while, the Treads Abyssal Blade Rush was very common. That build, you could just run at people and you were absurdly tanky, and you had CC to boot, and you were actually fairly mobile. With obviously the chain is to Urshock and stuff. So, I mean, it feels like the Ursa's sacrificing more to get relatively equal farm to a Luna. But if they want to just get like Battle Fury into the SNY and then go run at them, I think that's fine. Like, I think the timing will end up working out okay.
For sure, because they have got that issue, right, Liquid, with their lineup when it comes down to single target damage. They've got excellent spread between the Luna and the team fight, but if this Ursa is able to build up to this critical mass, as you said, with the S and Y and then into a Satanic, they don't really have a hero that can sort of frontline against him. Nico Baby's going to be able to tear them all apart in the late game.
Yeah, it's definitely something on their minds for sure. Later the game goes, and even Visage isn't a slouch in the late game. He becomes absurdly tanky, and he does still have that kind of, you know, zoo factor that we like to talk about during this meta, where having more summons is kind of scary. I guess they do have a Shaker, though, on the side of Alliance. It could be the equalizer here.
Yeah, we've seen a few great performances from Hanskin on it, too. So every reason to believe that those Echo Slams are going to be a-coming. Now we're seeing on the levels on the offlane as S4 is on level 5 at the moment, just Boxy with a full level ahead of him, having just that bit of a greater time down bottom, despite the death, with the way that he's been able to grab creeps and soak in the creep waves. Got their eyes on Nico Baby, but very hard for these two to make a play. Tiger close to the level 5, but Nico Baby not feeling any sort of threat. He's level 7, he has the Enrage ready to go. He can't really make a move on him right now.
Yeah, they're definitely waiting on Alliance as well for that level 6 timing on S4. He is going to get it now, so the Primal Split is up and ready whenever they want to try to make a move here on Alliance. Haven't seen a Sonic Wave or really any real commitment from either team to try to make anything happen yet in this early game.
I mean, now that he has hit the 6, could Alliance go for... I mean, but they are going to smoke. I imagine top lane is quite appealing, right? Because they do have the tools to dive and burst the Luna.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be their decision here. Going to drop a sentry here. Insania doing some dewarding. I do not believe he... Okay, he knows this force there, but he does not know about the smoke.
It may just be the Rubik that falls if they do want to take the grab on him. Shows himself on the wave. They want to dive for him, though. If they do, they're very well. Maybe TP reactions pretty much... I mean, yeah, the entire squad with TPs available, so they will react. FNG is going to start taking that outpost back in Alliance's favor, and at the same time, they're able to keep control of their own down bottom. So this will be the two outposts being in control of Alliance as we hit this 10-minute mark. Both teams playing slow, and Liquid themselves just yet to make a move. And they'll dive forward to try and contest the bounty room, but Hanskin's already grabbed it. Be able to turn with the Fisher, stop Boxy from being able to chase him down. The bounty's going to be theirs. Build-wise, Boxy not going to rush for the Blink initiation, does feel the necessity to get that Vanguard online first, make sure that he has that survivability against the right click of Alliance's heroes. On top, finally find him, Insania. It's been a very slow game so far, only 1 kill. It's about to be doubled. This is Insania does get taken down, and the bounty is claimed by S4.
I didn't really have to commit much to that one, just a Rubik after all, so they're going to feel happy about this. They're going to force a TP because there is a cart wave in the top lane and also in the mid lane. So the thing about Visage, and this is going to be like a focal point obviously for Liquid because it is their last pick overall.
Yeah.
You kind of can't forget about this hero because eventually you're going to get those familiars. You're going to get, obviously right now he's got the Alpha Wolf rocking out the damage aura. He's going to walk up to some towers. If you make a bad rotation, he's going to punish you so hard. The way that you stop this hero from doing what he wants to do is you can obviously build like the Crimson Guard type items, or you can just make really quick moves and then save your TPs to go back, which is kind of what Alliance were trying to do earlier when they were making that rotation for the tier 1 in the top lane. So look for them to keep making those types of moves.
Quake for keeping himself in the jungle, knowing that he's, as you say, very strong right now. Alliance have to be careful how they approach him. They are getting time to put a serious amount of damage onto the tier 1 tower top. Tiger has come in to try and slow things down, but this tier 1, by the looks of it, is going to fall inevitably. As yeah, there'll be no further attempt to hold it. Tiger should, under no pressure at all. He has a dive and an egg available. They won't go for him though. But they just got a free tier 1, and it is still Liquid not doing too much. It's a dead Insania once again. He's struggling to find the area on the map to get out and get some farm and get some levels, as they just keep killing him as soon as he shows himself. Quoifer does manage to finally siege that bottom tier 1 with action going on elsewhere.
It's really hard to walk into Visage. That's basically going to be the whole story of the game for Alliance. It is just very hard to like approach and just try to fight him straight up. You have to cause kind of chaos other places on the map and then make a quick movement somewhere else to try to kill heroes before he's able to get in position. Because more than anything, the hero is super slow, right? We are going to see a wraparound on mid.
Yeah, Mickey is going to need TP backup immediately because Primal Split committed from S4. They're looking to throw everything in onto the Luna. Jump forward with the burst. They'll bring Mickey down low. Is there anyone here in time? Boxy's trying to run forward, but the Luna's already dead. Alliance got what they came for. Liquid unable to keep their carry safe as Mickey just farming a little too far forward on that mid lane into the river.
Yeah, Liquid here also going to pop a smoke, Boxy and Insania. He did opt back for the Blink Dagger, by the way. He skipped the Vanguard. He knows he needs to be...
that.
Yeah, he needs to be able to jump, because with a Visage on your team, someone needs to be able to start the engagement. And it's also really nice to counter-initiate if they try to walk into your Visage as well. So it kind of serves two functionalities here for Boxy.
No, for sure. They really need to start finding some action themselves. I mean, with 13 minutes in, they've been yet to shed any blood of Alliance's players.
Dude, this Wild Wing, he's doing work. Got the tornado going, killing the creep wave. It's actually quite annoying for heroes like Visage because they're already slow.
Yeah, you got to find the source. I mean, Quoifer at least able to get on top of him with the familiars, put a stop to the spell. They're taking this tier 1 tower mid now. As Alliance, have they got any response? Primal Split obviously still on cooldown for over a minute. They don't really have the means to put a stop to this. And we're seeing, as you say, you know, this Visage just tear through tier 1s at a pace where Alliance, they don't even really have the chance to put a stop to it. No one wants to go forward and tackle Quoifer right now.
They kind of need some items. Like, timings are going to be really important for Alliance here. A Blink Dagger on the Shaker would obviously be like the #1 thing to look for to stop the Visage kind of from walking up and casually killing towers. But at the moment, especially like you mentioned, if they don't have split, there's really no way for them to walk in, and Nico doesn't even have his Battlefield yet. So Nico Baby's still working on his farm. Like, his farm's good, he's the highest net worth, but it's going to be a while, I think, before Alliance feel truly comfortable just walking into a 5v5.
Sure. But with Alliance's lineup in mind, do you think they're kind of cool with that anyway? Like, when you see their draft, does it sort of say to you, hey, we're not in a rush, we're happy to take this game down to the 40-minute plus this time?
They can play the side lanes and kind of, you know, force, I guess, rotations around the map and buy themselves time. But ultimately, I do feel like Liquid have the better late game.
Okay.
So I think at some point, you know, come like 25, 30 minutes, something is going to have to happen for this lineup. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad Ursa game by any means, but I do feel like he still suffers from like that late game inevitability of there just being too many support items out and you not being able to hit much. But we are going to see a split here.
Yeah, pretty much as soon as it's available. S4 already looking for action. He's on top of Quakefer. Limp has got a DD room, but it does now come to an end. Boxy is able to get the jump on the backlines. He's caught out Hansken. The Shaker immediately eliminated. They're now going to turn and start beating down on S4 through the split. He's got to run. He's got to get out. Will manage to break himself away. But that was a split used just a little too aggressively. The rest of Alliance weren't ready to back up S4. They couldn't fight up into the high ground there of Liquid. And Liquid, they ended up turning it around. Boxy gets a jump on Hansken. And now FNG, he's going to be found as well. He's trying to farm up a bit of the neutral camp. But Liquid just run over the map and they'll kill him off as well. They'll get 2 of them. Yeah,
that was a nice little extra pick there. It does reveal they have a ward there, though. So expect Alliance to just kill that Obs as soon as he respawns. But this is kind of the feeling when you pick a Brewmaster and, you know, you throw that ultimate down and just nothing happens. All of a sudden now your tier 2 is going to be sieged. Honestly, with a lineup like Liquid's, you could easily walk into the Roche pit as well. You know there's no blink on Hanskin. He's still, what, 800-900 gold away from being able to have that. There's really not a whole lot, I think, that Alliance can do barring force a reaction and try to outnumber Liquid in an engagement. I think that's probably the ideal way for them to take fights. Obviously, smokes are going to be useful as well, but for the time being, just fighting Liquid's lineup doesn't seem very plausible with their heroes.
No, for sure, yeah. Particularly, as you say, until they have that blink and they're able to get a jump themselves. Liquid just have a much easier team fight to execute and a much readier pace. You know, still the Brew, you have to rely on that primal split. That last one, not used to great success by S4. They've got to wait another minute before they're able to give it another shot. This is going to give time, and as the game continues, we are seeing both Mickey and Nico Baby stay on the same pace with farm. Very close between the carries, very close overall. I mean, 16 minutes in, just 4 for 2. A much slower paced game to what we're used to be seeing, but you know, not by any means a criticism of this match. Very, very safe and careful plays from both squads here.
It's kind of, it's just a result of the draft. I feel Liquid's last pick, it kind of just makes Alliance feel very tentative to take fights, just simply because, you know, we saw what can happen. S4 can pop an ulti, and then no one dies, and all of a sudden, you know, your Shaker's still missing his blink, your Queen really only has a Eul's at this point in the game, and there's not really a whole heck of a lot of damage if your Ursa is not going to be coming to engagements. So they're just kind of, they're chilling, they're waiting it out, they're going to find their timing, and they're going to go for a play when they feel like they're actually ready. And like you mentioned, it's not really a criticism of like how they're playing the game, it's just they kind of have to do this for a little while until they have the right stuff.
Very, very careful and playing, and understandably so. Liquid, they will start to move towards this Roche area, ideally finding a pick-off before they do want to commit for it. Boxy leading the charge. With their sights set on maybe finding someone around behind this area where the tier 1 tower once was. Boxy reveals, jumping into the wave and simply pulling the creeps to keep the pressure on mid. Nico Baby is around, backing up FNG, but still with just the Battle Fury alone, not really the most potent of items to be fighting with. He's much better suited to sticking with the farm.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what Nico Baby can pull off in this game as an Ursa, because I do feel like he has some limitations just because of his hero, but he is still farming well. Highest net worth, smoke initiation.
Limp, he jumps in. He jumps in, he's ready to go, but they've got the lift, they've got the damage. Limp just blinked into his death. He's dead and gone. Mickey comes in from the side with the Eclipse. S4's popped the split, but he's not really able to do much with it at all. He's trying to run in, does find the stun on the Mickey. Limp has brought back to attempt to commit for this fight. They have the micro, stunning up Mickey. Mickey pushed back by the Sonic Wave. The Supernova is going to go off successfully. The fish is out, but Mickey, he'll live. They'll turn. The Sunray starts to heal up Mickey. Limp tries to jump in to finish off the kill. He will get it, but he's blinked in for this one. He's got to be careful. They do manage to find Mickey. It did mean Limp having to buy back for that effort. They might find more with it though. He heads over towards Tiger. Tiger, no spells at the ready. Everything unavailable. So Limp with that buyback, he's found 2. The call's in again onto FNG, but the fish is there. They're going to be able to take down Boxy. Nico Baby turns, gets the swipes up. This is a fight gone very, very well for Alliance. Limp reading that instant opportunity to buy back in, and Alliance will come out on top of that fight.
I mean, to be honest with you, and it looked a bit suspect at first with like the blink at forward and everything.
But maybe that was the plan all along, you know.
Yeah,
just
hey, they have
feed your life away, bait them into a fight.
Yeah, just feed and buy back. I mean, that is a strategy. Some of the best teams in the world have used that strategy to win TI. So I think, once again, showcasing that Alliance, they need to make those fast moves. They were very decisive. They said, we're going right now. They killed a Luna. Limp, he actually aggro blinks 2 times, gets the dagger off onto Mickey, and then eventually he dies, and that's kind of the focal point of your lineup at this stage in the game. So now you're down a hero, and you don't actually have your own buybacks, and they kind of got split up, and the reinitiation onto FNG by Boxy, I feel, was really strange. Like, as soon as the Luna's dead there, I feel like you just abandon ship. You know, It's like, okay, no Eclipse, nothing here, let's just cut our losses and get out, because it's not like Alliance can just walk into the pit if the Visage is still alive and take Roshan. There was not really, I feel, a threat of that, so a bit odd. Kind of like re-going on that, but a very, very big win for Alliance.
Absolutely. I mean, as I say, maybe that really was the intention all along there from Limp, as he comes in with the big brain plays. I mean, a very solid game overall still. 3-1-3 on the Queen of Pain, and off the back of that, Nico Baby starting to step ahead of the farm of Mickey. As expected, queuing up the
big item,
the build that we're seeing. And oh yeah, there it is. Hans getting now ready to join the party and look for the initiations themselves. Something that Alliance has struggled with a bit. You know, we saw that last fight, they were able to get it going their way by baiting Liquid to commit, as they themselves didn't have the best means of actually hunting for a fight. Now with this Blink Dagger, they can absolutely start to play much more aggressive.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this Blink purchase right now is that you get the effect of the Blink reveal, where the enemy team may or may not know you have it. And that can turn a fight massively. And if you get a really good Echo here for Alliance, you turn that into a Roshan, could definitely be your game to lose. But there is going to be another smoke here from Liquid, scouting up the hill.
Alliance running on the high ground. Boxy's able to get the jump in, looks towards the Ursa there, burning him down with the Sunray. Nico Baby needs help, but he's going to get it. Gets the time to pop the Enrage. He'll be fine for now. They turn towards Quakefor, slowing him down, surrounding him with the Primal Split. Quakefor getting burst out. He's forced to the side. Can he escape? The Eclipse is out. Liquid, they're turning. Limp, he'll fall this time, and there's no buyback available to turn this fight around. Limp, dead for 70. They get the control as well onto S4 before he's out of the split. They clean up 2 kills for Mickey. And with that, they can absolutely go straight into the pit. The question is, does Hansken go for this?
This is a lot. I don't know, man. Like, he's thinking about it.
He's thinking about it.
I don't think you do this. Like, your queen's dead. Even if you get lucky, you can get the Roche, maybe.
Dude, he wants to do it so bad. He wants to make this jump. Is he going to do it?
He's waiting for it to get low. He's waiting for it to get low.
Oh, he's going to do it. He's going. He's got it. He got the kill. But Mickey will still grab the Aegis. They turn. They kill off Hansken after his noble attempt to trip up Liquid in the pit. Nico Baby also committed, and he will fall as well. I mean, he couldn't resist, Andy. He couldn't resist. He did get the kill.
I can't blame him, man.
In their favor.
Every Earthshaker player knows that feel. You know, there's a Visage in the pit. You know, there's familiars. There's like a ton of creeps. You can make this play, maybe get the Aegis, but can we just give props to Insania right there? He was so ready for that. He, like, instantly lifted him as soon as the Echo came out, and they didn't even have vision of the high ground. So just really methodical play coming in here from Liquid, just understanding that that play, if it works, right, if he gets the Aegis, it really stunts their ability to walk up to the high ground and really siege the tier 3 because of the fear of buybacks and stuff. So if he gets it, it's like a high risk, high reward. So, you know, it didn't work out, unfortunately, but he did get the Roche kill. So a little bit of experience.
I mean, that's what he'll be reminding his team. He'll be like, guys, I got the kill. I got the kill.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what they'll be remembering. Well, that's what he'll be remembering, at least, from that last moment of play. And off the back of that, it's a 2K lead for Liquid. Still so close, just 7-7 here, 23 minutes in. Nico Baby still at the top with the farm. Is SNY done on the road towards that Satanic? And as we've seen many times already at this last bounty hunt, this bear becomes so terrifying with these items. And if he is able to get himself on top of a target, it's so hard for Liquid to peel him off it with that much status resistance.
Yeah, that's the real question, though, right? Like you just mentioned it. It's like, can he stay on someone? Sure. Because the downside to this build is you kind of need other people to stun for you. So you need the Earthshaker, you know, maybe the Brew Split and such to throw bowlers out and crowd control that guy so you can hit, because you don't have a Basher. You know, you can run fast, but are you really going to outrun a Luna with a Hurricane Pike and, like, team stunning for him? That's my, I guess, my concern for the Ursa, is that he'll try to go all in for that big kill, and without a Basher to stun for himself, I feel like he could just very easily get kited.
Yeah, between as you say, the Hurricane Pike and also the other items they're building up, they've got a lot of means to deal with him. You know, the Yule Scepter being built on Boxy, the fact that Tiger's got the Halberd. You know, they very much are kitting up to just control this Ursa in the team fights and make sure that Nico Baby cannot get those kills.
Yeah, he is pretty much all of their damage, if you think about it. With the way that Visage Gravekeeper's Cloak works, you obviously mitigate a huge chunk of damage for the first few hits that you take. And Ursa typically is really good at burning through that. I guess the Brewmaster Split can do a pretty good job of it as well. But, like, Sonic Wave, for example, is not really going to burst down Quake for the later the game goes. And they're just going to get to a point where, like, who's going to deal damage on Alliance to these core heroes if it's not Nico Baby? That's kind of, I guess, how I process how this game turns out if it gets too late. But, you know, fights can go crazy. We've definitely seen some stuff already this game. And Alliance just really need to find the right jump, I guess. And Hansken, we really need to see a big echo from him.
Liquid, and they go, starting to try and take over the map once again as we get to the 25-minute bounty runes, pushing in onto this tier 2. Limp, keeping one of the lanes shoved out. This top lane's been the focus. He picks up the plate mail, just a casual plate mail, and then going back for the BKB to make sure that he's fight ready. And Liquid, they're knocking on the tier 3s. Mickey with this double damage rune, and obviously still the Aegis. Alliance have got to respond to this. Now come back with the TPs. Liquid will back away. He's not getting out of that. There's Boxy and Insania run him down. To have the Yule's control. Boxy gets in, gives him a bit of a bonk on the head. Same time back in the jungle, Nico Baby, he's been found outside of the base. See if they can get him out of here to safety. He has the enrage. Quaifa still bringing the birds over. Will manage to jump his way back to safety with that shock. Still very much Alliance just having to run away from Liquid's lineup right now. They just really struggle to fight into the 5-man of Team Liquid.
It's just been the story of the game, right? The Visage, if you see him and your Alliance, you just go, well, we can't, if we do kill this guy, we have to commit so much. Like, we have to give this guy the kitchen sink, everything, Echo, Sonic Wave, like all these abilities, just try to get him out of the fight. If they can do that, I feel like it'll be a situation like
Quick Earth Shock is able to dodge the Berserker's course of box. He doesn't get the initiation that he'd hoped for. S4 getting stunned in position. He does have the Primal Split at the ready. He's going to back off for now. Doesn't want to feel pressured to use it. Has to save it for the optimal time. As Liquid continue to poke, Mickey back up, finishes off the tier 3. The racks now exposed as Mickey and the Familiars start to take this melee racks. Alliance, they've got to make a move soon. They will be saved by the fact that the Aegis does time out. Mickey and the gang don't want to force it without the Aegis. They'll retreat. There's still a tier 2 to be taken up top. Liquid, they're not going to push the issue. They're going to play it safe.
Yeah, there's no reason. I mean, you can kind of see, or I guess maybe if you're Alliance, you can feel how the game is going, right? Like, you just don't ever feel like you can walk into them or really do much of anything. And it's that's not going to change unless I feel Liquid make a mistake or Alliance gets some really big jump.
Lane. Alliance, they're trying to commit on this. They're trying to come out and fight into Liquid, but Liquid, they've still got all the ults ready to go. The fish is out, but Boxy jumps up to 2-man call. Hansken goes to the Echo on the backlines, but it's not enough damage. There's still the opportunity for Tiger to pop the Supernova. Nico Baby jumps over towards Boxy, will finish him off, but Tiger, the Supernova successful, is holding Alliance back. There'll be a buyback from Hansken trying to get back over into the fray, but Nico Baby's caught in the river. The Ursa goes down. Liquid, they're going to chase down for more. FNG trying for the TP out, but they have the Yule Scepter to cancel it. As for the split ends, he will manage to blink off the back of it and get himself away. But Hansken, he's being run down. He brought back for this. FNG does finally fall. Liquid take 3, including that dieback from Hansken. And with 3 gone, they'll resume process straight down the mid lane and look to take away these barracks from Alliance.
The fights are just so difficult for Alliance to play. I honestly don't know if you can even really get a better Echo unless, you know, Nico Baby can make their entire team group up on him, because they have kind of a similar issue that we were talking about in the beginning of the game where Boxy needed to be the guy to go in, right, for Liquid. But for Alliance, if no one can deal with the Familiars and just the damage output of like Sunray and the Eclipse coming in for Mickey, you don't have a front line, like, at all. And because of the SNY Battle Fury build, I don't think Battle Fury is really the problem here. I think SNY maybe was a bit greedy, and BKB might have been a better choice in hindsight, just simply because it would have allowed him to go into the fights so that the Shaker, the Enchantress, and the Queen could use their spells more effectively. I think that's kind of how this game played out, because you saw how fast Nico Baby died there. He just melted. Like, even if you have a Satanic, you're not healing through that damage. You're just gonna die. And, you know, on top of that, you could just get Axe called and such as Quickfa, taking a few slaps here, but he'll be fine. But yeah, I don't know. I think the SNY may be too greedy this game. Maybe BKB was just necessary. It's hard to say, though. I do feel like Liquid's draft, like their last pick, just owned this game. Just because of its presence, you know? You look at a guy not on the top of the net worth, and he doesn't have a million kills, and you go, yeah, okay, he's having an okay game. But then you realize that he hasn't died a single time. And he has like an AC and a pipe.
Oh yeah, his teammates love him.
Yeah, there's nothing that they can do to this guy.
And they can just never close the gap on him. And at this point, you know, all the items are done that just make Nico Baby's game impossible. They're trying their best, Alliance, to go for these fights. As we saw just then, you know, coming outside of the base, trying to take them in the river, where they just don't have the means to be able to win them. And they're falling further behind. 8k lead now for Liquid. They do find Boxy. At least they'll lead him with the Fisher, but he's on the right side of it for him at least. He's going to be more than fine. They cannot get on top of them. They've got to run. They're not going to get the chance. Boxy, he's able to get the jump back in on them. Gets the call on Limp. Dunks him down. They'll chase down FNG. Alliance just getting torn apart anytime they leave their base.
It's looking rough. It is definitely looking rough for Alliance here in the first game. I mean, we've seen crazy comebacks before. Yesterday, the OG game, right? That was a crazy one.
That could happen. You know, it could happen.
I mean, I think it's a lot less likely, but I suppose it is in the realm of possibility, yeah.
11k lead, Liquid. ready to take a second set of racks here up top. Alliance, no limp for 30 seconds, no buyback saved up for.
Ooh.
They won't be able to have a fight going here. S4 tries, but it really is not going to work. Nico Baby's trying to step forward, pops the enrage, but he's just sent up by the Yules. The whole ult wasted. He has to run, he has to retreat. Mickey popping the BK, but he's starting to charge in. They're going to call it. They know there's no way to fight into this lineup anymore. 30 minutes in, 16-8. Liquid will take game one. And I pretty much what you were saying, Andy, this draft, it was just fire against what Alliance had. Alliance just, I mean, what were Alliance supposed to do with these heroes?
Your guess is as good as mine, Owen. I do think that gameplay-wise, I don't really have too many issues with what they did. It was mostly just their inability to deal with the Visage as a hero. And, you know, Limp goes for this Yules. You know what his game plan is. He wants to Cyclone the Axe Initiation because he knows that Boxy's going to have that early game blink. But every single time I'm looking at these heroes in Alliance, I'm going, who's doing the damage? Who's actually killing these heroes? And the longer the game goes, it just gets more and more difficult to take anyone down. So I'm not sure really if there's too many like gameplay things that I see here from Alliance. It's just mostly the last pick Visage it was way too much.
Oh, absolutely, and definitely in comparison to the impact S4 was able to have with that last pick Brew, it just didn't work. I mean, going from what you would imagine Alliance were trying to do with that Brew pick, what do you think was their intention getting that as a last hero?
I feel like they just wanted to play the game really fast, you know, have another hero that's going to create space. For this Ursa, you know that if you have him on your team, you can secure Roshan very easily, and then you can hopefully use that Aegis to get enough of an advantage to just win the game through that. Because the patch, like Sinner was saying earlier, it's very much about just getting an advantage through your lanes, holding that advantage, and then eventually the enemy team just can't get enough of the map, and they'll just eventually crumble. So maybe that's what they were going for, but it didn't work.
And I've got to be honest, I feel like we're just seeing so much success with these Luna picks. I mean, is this a hero that you kind of just have to take away? I mean, how do you deal with how easily this hero just gets the items online? Like, do you have to just, like, what do you draft that's able to aggressively get in the face of a Luna and slow a game down?
In this game, I actually feel like their heroes were fine against Luna. I don't think that, like, the hero as a whole is working, definitely. I think it was 100% win rate, so now 5-0? Something like that.
I think it's got to be close to that, yeah.
Yeah, I do think that Luna is really one of those heroes that you can't leave alone. It's kind of like what we said about Visage this game, where you kind of have to invade her space. You know, that's what this patch is about. Make the 1 and the 2 positions feel as uncomfortable as you possibly can. But the thing about Luna is that she can fight back, right? If she has Eclipse and you come walking into the wrong place, then all of a sudden that could just be a team fight disaster for you. So I think that's kind of what makes her so strong, is her ability to provide an aura for the team. She farms very, very fast. She's overall just high movement speed hero, great damage, and she also has mixed damage, which I don't know if we've mentioned yet today, but it basically just means you deal physical and magical damage together, which makes it even harder to itemize against the hero. So she just kind of has a lot of stuff going for her right now.
Yeah, we certainly saw that once again here in this game one between Alliance and Liquid. Liquid taking this game one relatively early on as well. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back shortly after this break to find out how the series will continue. But as for now, Liquid take the lead 1-0.
Hey everyone, it's S4 from Alliance. I'm trying the Betweight skill shot challenge to see if I can get the highest score at Blast Bounty Hunt. 3, 2, 1, go. penetrate the trees. Oh my god, I'm so bad. Alright. My final score was 5,682, pretty good, but you can try it yourself, share it online. We have to use the hashtag #skillshotchallenge. And next up is Nico Baby, my teammate from Alliance.
Absolutely impressive show by S4 in the Betway Skill Shot Challenge. In the game, though, maybe not so much. Gentlemen, would you like to talk about that one? Cinderin and Sunsman, of course, joining me on the panel. Oh, what happened to that panda? You said it. You said it, Cinderin.
I'm sorry. I need to interrupt again. Do you know who currently has the top score in the Betway Skill Shot Challenge?
Yes, I
know.
can
Either of you
read.
guys. Oh, who?
It was Odie Pixel.
No, in the entire game, not in this specific caster group. Can you name the player?
No, is that
You
privilege?
each get one guess.
Is it a pro player?
No, it is not a pro player.
Neil.
It is Neil. Very good, Cinderin. He had, I think, what's S4 score was like 5,000 or 6,000. Neil's is 13,000 something.
Okay.
Incredible display.
Does he?
All right, now let's talk about Proto.
He probably cheated.
He cheated.
Neil would cheat.
Neil cheated.
Also, Neil knows the rules, which these players playing it for the first time don't. Like not Yuling in the Yule part, or not knowing you need to arrow or hook the ones with gems. You know. Like,
let me go ahead and be a host, if you don't mind,
Neil probably
for a moment.
tried for 5 days. Okay.
You guys could shut up for just a moment. We could go into the game itself. A surprising turnaround. Guys, this was really the big moment where the game started taking off. It was only 8 kills. This looked like some League of Legends garbage before this time, and now we finally got into the real game of Dota at this moment.
Yeah, I believe Queen of Pain bopped. I don't know if it was this fight that he bopped back and then ended up turning the team fight around. I mean, the game was really close for the most part, and then they ended up going for the Roshan, which I'm sure we'll see in a moment here, and that I thought was the beginning of the snowball downward in favor of Team Liquid. Like, they ended up getting the Ursa killed. They do get the Roche kill, but Cinderin, I feel like the Aegis at that stage is just far more important, and they had it on Luna. So
unfortunately, a lot of predictions here getting ruined, myself included. I predicted 0 Aegis steals today, and that is obviously a snatch, even though, you know, technically Liquid did 95% of the work, but that doesn't matter. It's about the last hit, so it is a steal, technically. But yeah, the Aegis is big. And Luna's now, I think, 5-0. It's kind of, you gotta start respecting this hero, I feel like. It's just, you hit this critical timing in the game, give the aura to your teammates, you have one sort of hero that really uses it well in the Visage in this game, and you pick a lot of team fight around it. You come with an Aegis to the enemy's high ground, they need to fight you. If they can't win the fight, they lose. The moment the tower falls, the barracks are just done very quickly.
Luna gets in
their
the
team
face.
fight was pretty impressive overall. I thought Koikfa played really well in the Visage. I don't think they really had much of an answer. It felt like a solid game. They didn't do anything like super flashy, but I think, like you're talking about, not only Luna enabling the Visage to some degree, but vice versa as well, because you buy all these aura items anyway, and they're not going to do anything about the I keep wanting to say gargoyles. Familiars over and over. Pretty strong lineup. Like, once you have a small advantage, it feels like they can just start to snowball in there.
This definitely felt like a very nice strategic win to me. When you think about, like we said, this Brewmaster can be very hit or miss. I felt like this was a miss game. They played around his primal split very, very well. S4 didn't really seem to get too much done in this game. And then whenever that split is on cooldown, the Dire lineup just feels so powerful. Like they don't worry at all about initiating any sort of team fight because they have just so much damage. They have the team fight, they have the tankiness on Axe, on Visage, and the Phoenix Sunray, and they just stay alive and eventually overpower them in these fights. So nice strategy from Liquid. That was a very good game.
Can I just say one thing before we talk more about the game? Not to interject again. It is absolutely amazing to hear Draskell again. I have to say, it's been so long. Like, what a blast!
+1.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job from Draskell. OD did okay as well. You know, he does his usual stuff, but it's good to hear Draskell again.
Jesus.
I mean, who doesn't like OD? Nothing needs to be said on that.
Draskell was actually one of the first guys I ever heard talk about Dota 2. Draskell, AC Cast, and TI. So what a pleasure to have him back. Yeah. Everyone hates
Draskell kind of made OD, and then OD left him to rot. So there you go.
Oh, you know, I heard about that with who was OD's old friend too? It was OD Pixel, and then he had a little buddy.
Wakey Pixel.
Wakey Pixel. What a strange coincidence, Owen. No, I'm just kidding. What a savage line of comments.
Collected any more people? OD?
How many more careers will you destroy on your
career
own way?
collector?
Sounds like the Arcana requirements for Skeleton King. You got to collect those souls. Or those thingies. Good lord.
What the hell's wrong with you guys? My God. Anyway,
thanks for inviting me again, Slash. I really appreciate it.
But this is a serious time, okay? This team is one game away from being knocked out of the Blast Bounty Hunt. It's horrible. Alliance has done so well. We saw such fight in them, and now they're up almost against elimination. Do you think that they could come back? I gotta admit, the S4 pick on the Brew was pretty weird. Maybe they just go for a more standard draft?
I mean, it's 3 losses in a row. When you're in a tournament like this and you know it's 4 games to get knocked out, it starts getting a little bit mental now at this point. It's like, do you start questioning yourselves? Do you have some sort of fallback strategy that you've prepared where, okay, backs against the wall, we're going to do this. We're going to go back to some of our core values in drafting, or pick very specific heroes for our players that they play at their very best when it matters the most. That's the kind of thing you need to dig up now, because you need to win 2 in a row against a Liquid that kind of beat you strategically, right? I don't feel like Liquid, for the most part in that game, just flat out mega outplayed them, but it was still a 30-minute game. Like, they just beat them on timing, basically. So S4 needs to figure this one out.
Suns fan, do you think that maybe this is the danger zone, or the team might be wanting to ban out that Luna, but then opens them up for these terrifying zoo heroes?
I feel like Luna is a weird ban. Even though it's having some good success, it's still a very small sample size. But if you feel like you can't contain it, then sure. I mean, I'm still waiting for a team to go the Puppy route, where Puppy kind of did this, but not to the full degree, where you just ban nothing of consequence. Just let everything in. Literally, you ban these heroes that you will never pick, you know that they will never pick, and just let it come down to whatever you guys want to play versus whatever we want to play, and we'll see how it goes. Zoo versus zoo, as it were.
Oh, so like a cage fight.
Yeah, a cage
with animals.
Fight.
Shannon, that's not very legal.
Well, thank you, Cinder, for taking another dark turn. But if you think of it from a mental standpoint, let's say you feel like you're on the back foot and you need to take a risk, right? When you're behind, you want to take a risk to get back in the game. Why not just let chaos ensue? Chaos in a draft means not banning anything that matters. But we won't see it, so.
Thank you, Suns fan, for that wonderful deviation. And then ending it with, this won't happen for straight 5 minutes.
This will not happen, because I've been waiting for it for 10 years, and it has yet to happen.
Honestly, that is a smart way of looking clever as an analyst. You make a very elaborate statement about something and say it won't happen, then when it doesn't, you're like, I was right.
Yes, in another 5 years, when Dota is really desperate for these types of games, we'll see it. This patch will still be a thing in 5 years.
Tier 5 items every game. I know you do.
Yeah.
This is not your patch. This is not your patch.
That's true. The 60-minute games are actually a dream to not only play but cast, and I have more experience than Cinder on both occasions. So
yep. I don't get long games.
You have yet to have one game that goes 60 minutes. How is that even remotely
I have
possible?
not played in a game that had a tier 5 item yet since it came out.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think so. I've cast one, I think.
Sin, you lose
And
that
Slacks,
fast?
you play a lot of techies, right? So
Yeah.
I'm sure you've had many.
Almost every single game goes to 60 for me. Yeah, legitimately. It is. I plan on it. I'm like, all right, guys, find the Bestilla, give it to me, and we can finally win.
The Bastilla? The
That is how you pronounce it in French. Okay, thank you. The
Are you
coup de
sure?
grace and the Bastilla. Does it
It's
work?
coup de grace. That one I've learned the hard
Coup de
way.
grace.
You don't have the French
Yeah.
coup. Seb taught me how to say that.
No, he didn't.
And then he laughed a lot after I said it, so maybe now I'm thinking about it.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Well, anyway, gentlemen, it is dire times indeed.
That's still.
Hey, shut up!
Bastilla.
Bastilla. Dire times indeed for these teams as we are in this elimination game, potentially the final game of the day. Cinderin, you've been in this situation more than anyone I know, about to be eliminated in a tournament.
Thank you, Slacks.
What
Very
would
nice.
you suggest for these guys to do to turn it around?
Just do a bounty, man. It's over.
Just ask the team to feature 20 people.
the money
It's
while you
over.
can.
It's over.
Nah, serious talk though, like the most important thing that I think a lot of teams struggle with, even at the highest level, is to when your back's against the wall, it's like the great teams that manage to find the energy and pull each other back up, right? It's easy to start seeing dark things or focus too much on mistakes. And the most important thing is, you've seen this in True Sight, I'm sure, like OG are not winning every game. They're losing quite a lot on their road to tournament victories most of the time. And they're just really good at resetting. That's what you got to do. Focus on the good things, play your comfort strategies, and make each other, believe that you can win the game. The mental aspect of this game is bigger than anything when you're down in a series. It's so
Do you
important.
think, from an individual standpoint, it would actually be beneficial to be a psychopath? To have zero emotion going into game to game? If you lose, it doesn't affect you. You continue on. The only issue is,
yes
of
and
course,
no.
the dynamic with the team itself, having a
Yeah.
psychopath on the team.
I mean, if you have 5 especially, right?
I mean,
Maybe that's a good
I
thing.
mean-
It's not.
history
think-
proves that there is some success in that. I mean, look at NIP with PPD. I mean, they had a great run. And,
Okay.
I'm just saying,
All right.
out there.
Just, yeah. And the machete. You're onto something here.
I
I'm
mean,
sure.
Hey, just because you're a psychopath doesn't
No.
mean you kill people.
So there's something good and something bad to be said about that. Like if you are very like calm all the time, you also don't really pump up your teammates very much, right? Like you can have, if you're very invested in the game and you're a very emotional player, there's positive and negative emotion. And if you're just if you're just flat the whole time, you're not the guy who's going to bring the team up to play at their greatest, right? You need that hype man in the team, having somebody who gets people excited.
And
This
fear-
is why
Makes them believe in
getting a life coach, I think, is so
It's
important.
very valuable
is,
for
yeah.
some teams, especially. Yeah.
Shannon,
Other teams
fear-
kind of have a player that does that, like OG, for example, with Seb. He was kind of a life coach while playing, if you watch their games.
Absolutely. As I was going to say, Shannon, fear can only take you so far. I mean, we've seen Secret make it to TI so many times, and then the terror that if they lose TI, what will happen to them with Puppy, we just see it over and over again. So it can
They
only
just
go so
replay
far.
the monitor in their mind over
Oh
and
my
over
God.
and over.
You can just feel the heat emanating you from your left. It getting so hot around that chair. It's scary. Anyway, let's go into the draft here. Welcome to our potentially elimination game for our boys Alliance. S4 represent. And we are seeing very similar bands, of course. Nothing really too interesting to talk about from if you've been
Phoenix,
watching Dota.
that's a new one since
Well,
that was in the game.
True,
They
true.
Yeah.
Worth
feel
a
that is
ban?
needed.
Liquid
Very annoying hero.
Liquid use Phoenix very well. They played on both Insania and Taiga. Last game they put the 5 Rubik on Insania. I feel like they're basically the only team that does this nowadays, play 5 Rubik. But Alliance definitely struggled with it. I felt like their issue was that they don't want to have to draft something that kills that damn supernova. And picking disengages in this patch, who's really good at disengaging from Egg? Like a couple of mobile heroes with Blinks and maybe Stampede. But considering that nobody really rates Centaur right now for anything, maybe they just rather be done with that.
Worthless
part of the
hero.
draft and then focus on the next
Yes.
step.
So I'm trying to remember the bands. Grimstroke is available now. What was the second one that is missing? Because Earthshaker is now banned on the side of Liquid, so we won't see that this game. So it was Grimstroke +1. I'm sure they'll be picked in the first. No, we're gonna see Vengeful Spirit. Is this an opening towards a potential Luna? And
I wouldn't
do you,
mind.
first to Luna, if you're Liquid, do you try to steal this away? Or is it a bait? Even a higher level mental play here They think you're going Luna, but you actually are not going to go Luna.
And then it's a bait, and you're going what?
I don't know.
That is a great bait. I love that.
Ah, you've
I'm sure
fallen
they
into
know.
my trap. Now what? Oh no. Ember Spirit, this
Ember
hero we've
Coddle.
been seeing a ton of.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
Okay.
Okay, you can't be surprised with this of your alliance. Liquid love their Coddle on Insania. Coddle Ember is classic right now. So yeah, they're not taking too long. Necrophos.
Wow, first two. So that was banned, I believe, 4th, right?
Yeah, it was banned
Or
last
fifth,
game.
sorry.
Yeah,
Second,
banned 5th. I don't know if... Necro is definitely very good against Ember Spirit in lane. You can get rid of Flame Guard relatively easily. You have constant harass and sustain, so you can lane against the Coddle. I think the plan here is definitely to put this hero into that matchup. I don't know how much I like the synergy with Venge. I guess it's okay, but nothing like outstanding. So
I mean, isn't it just nice to have a save just in general?
Of course, I mean, it's never bad to have a save, of course, but usually the pairings you like to see with Venge in the first phase is to grab something that either complements Venge very well in lane, or something that uses Venge's minus armor plus aura very well. And it feels like Necro does neither, right? Like, he's not...
Right.
This doesn't look like a terrifying lane to face, and it doesn't look like an amazing pairing, but I'm sure they'll come around to covering that in the second phase.
Now, how much are they going to prioritize some sort of dispel for the Searing Chains, like something like an Abaddon or LC? Do you
Yeah.
think that's of high priority?
Abaddon is a possibility. Abaddon Necro is extremely sustainable. We've seen strategies from teams in the last couple of months revolving a lot around sustainability, just having saves and heals and aura carriers. I think Abaddon is definitely an option. Might even be something Liquid is thinking about. We saw the strategy run from Nigma a couple of hours ago where they had those exact 3 heroes as their first 3, Ember, Coddle, Abaddon. Could consider it. But
Lilith has left us for now.
Will you shut up about this?
It was actually, they were using the Kerrigan skin last game.
What the what?
Kerrigan. It's a StarCraft reference.
Oh, Blizzard lore. Well,
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to Blizzard lore until they retcon the heroes into being, you know, different genders and stuff. That's what
I know how angry you get when people say that Terrorblade is the brother of Anti-Mage.
I get very
Exactly.
upset at that
Yes.
garbage.
But Wyvern being the daughter of Phoenix.
That is not
Phoenix
true,
and
dude. That
Dragon.
is not, that was an email by Steve Jaro. He wasn't thinking straight, all right? He was stressed, the lore, stressed him out. He got drunk off the lore, and he went insane, all right? Earth
It
Spirit.
makes sense.
What a fantastic hero. We have seen Earth Spirit picked up a few times. Haven't seen him yet today, and he makes so much sense to me in this meta. It's all about getting in, fighting, getting out, causing your damage. Sin, what do you think about the hero right now?
I mean, first of all, yeah, I agree. I think this patch, compared to at least what we've had in almost the rest of this year, Earth Spirit is at a pretty good spot right now. He's felt weak for a while, but now he's kind of back. That's the one part, is that he makes the moves and wants to fight, play fast. The other thing is just flat out comfort, right? Like, Liquid just seemed to shine when Taiga is playing this hero. So they're up 1-0, they're feeling confident. Everybody just wants to play the heroes that they enjoy and feel like they own on. So definitely a solid pick for them with that logic.
Oracle Necro. I mean, that is mega survivability for Necro.
Yeah, that's a different save than Abaddon. Same logic, though.
Yeah. So you have essentially 2 saves. I like Venge, even though they picked it before the Coddle. Like, if Ignis Fatus is placed and Venge is not inside, that's a nice way to, you know, sacrifice your life for your Necro.
What does Ignis Fatus do? Does it like pull out all the fats into
Yes.
work and stuff?
That's what happens.
Do you remember
You're
Dota
stunned.
1? The original Coddle ult was actual Ignis Fatus, just running around as another unit.
Oh, I remember
I
the one where
always
you
hated
summoned
that.
wisps across the map that could make little soldiers, little priests.
All right, that was before my time. That's ancient Dota.
Yeah, I'm very old.
Ancient times. Yes.
Let me tell you a story from my childhood, boy. You're
That
actually
is
older than me.
the most frightening old man voice I've ever heard. That was
That's
highly disturbing.
I did audition for Coddle, but they took someone else. But I was told I was second best out of
You know,
2.
true story, I auditioned for Underlord.
That's
They never
not true.
returned my email.
That's actually not true.
Okay, that's not true. They actually did return the email, and they politely said that we don't want you, but thank you.
I thought their response would be, "We have received your email." No.
We have received your email. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're not invited to this year's TI again.
Okay, back to the game a little
Anywho.
bit. So, part of the logic with Oracle that a lot of teams, or at least in the past, you think of this Fortune's End as a counter to Ember because you
Yes.
can purge off Flame Guard. It only works for a short period in the game, effectively anyway, in my opinion. It's like, yes, in the very first skirmishes it can be nice, but later on, you don't really counter Ember at all. He's super mobile, he has insane burst and just non-stop spamming of the spells with the Coddle. So yeah, you've got this 1 or 2 dispels, but Ember can throw spells out non-stop, basically. He's just gonna keep light chaining you, you won't have saves for all of them, and he becomes way less about Flame Guard later on. In most games, it's way more about the slight chains plus whatever itemization he tries to go for rather than the Flame Guard.
Another Visage.
Yeah.
Uh,
Is this a Bristleback game now for Alliance?
oh yeah, I would love to see
Hey.
I
that.
think
That's
you
true.
gotta do something about this Visage. You have nothing that beats Visage right now. It's really good against Necrophos because, you know, he has Ghost Shroud, but it's the constant harassment that he can't ever deal with. He can't get the birds off himself. You're often difficult to bring into Reaper's Scythe range because of Gravekeeper's Cloak. The Visage Familiars are also insane against Oracle. All these backline heroes that need to stay safe, you just start bombarding them with the birds during the fight, and it gets really, really annoying very quickly. So, yeah, you flat out need to solve this hero right now. I think this pick has to counter Visage, in my opinion.
Yep, I like Bristle quite a bit.
Bristle's decent.
Not that this is a counter, but Luna is still in play.
True.
Here. Does Alliance ban that?
I think they
I
should.
feel like Liquid goes for this for sure if it's available, right?
That's another
Kunkka.
hero that's
Kunkka.
pretty good against Visage.
Okay.
And Boat,
Get the-
another buff.
Very tanky Necrophos. You can't kill him.
You can't kill him. Necrophos buys a Radiance. He's invincible. The whole map will burn. It's unkillable.
The issue at the same time, though, is what damage do you have on Alliance, right? Like,
Who
your...
cares?
He lives.
Venge Oracle is not great. Kunkka, yeah, you have this catch and this a bit of a burst once, but there's counterplay on Liquid side, and they're innately elusive on Ember, they're innately tanky on Visage, elusive on Earth Spirit. Coddle has Mega Reach, so he's going to play far back. So how do you find a fight that gets played on your terms? That's what I'm a bit concerned about. I still think Luna is a great ban. Maybe Venge is a decent hero against Luna because you can swap it out of position, but once again, can you actually even kill Luna with your lineup, especially when she gets BKB? Kind of have nothing against BKBs in this game as Alliance right now, which is a bit concerning.
You can swap a BKB though to a different
can.
place. Away with you, you can say. That's goddamn Limp. He is looking good, man. That guy's been carrying Alliance for so long. He's become a freaking tank. Look at that guy.
Yeah, he
Woo!
is a beast.
He is swole.
I know.
He
He
did
should
not
change
used
his
to
name.
be that swole before, right?
Oh.
Maybe I've never seen him with a shirt off, which wouldn't be a big surprise.
Maybe he has a filter on his camera.
As a guy,
It's an Instagram filter.
Instagram felt. As you can see from the walls, these are clearly edited. Look at that backpack.
Does anyone else feel like the room is bending?
I definitely see the bend on the backpack. That kid is
Oh,
tiny.
Enigma ban. Interesting.
All right, Enigma, team fight.
Huh.
I
I
wonder
would not
why
have expected that.
Yeah, I wonder why Alliance feel like they are very good against Luna. I still think Ember position 3 is entirely possible for Liquid to pull off here and put Luna on Mickey. Play the Koikva Visage again. Koikva's, I don't know how bad the Kunkka matchup is. I think you put Visage mid anyway. Like, just get him the levels so he can start playing with his familiars, whether it's jungling or pushing lanes and taking towers. That hero thrives in the mid lane. Alliance are actually running out of time here.
1 second.
Last
Got a
second.
random.
Yay!
Okay.
Take it
Great
away.
call.
I mean, Liquid has to see this coming as a possibility as well, right? So
For
this
sure.
can't be like a huge shock.
So
But now they have some flexibility in their lineup, right? You said probably mid Visage, but Ember could be the 1 or 3. How often do we see the 3 Ember?
It's not that common, but Boxy has played it for Liquid in a couple of games, I want to say. So here, I don't know if it's good to do it anymore now that you're facing the Luna, right? It was with the logic that you could get Luna for that trade-off, but now you probably want to play the... Do you play the Ember safe lane against Necro +1? Might be difficult. I think the main thing Liquid are thinking about here is how do we get away with our laning stage? I think they feel very confident if they get out of the lanes evenly. And now that they do have a counter pick here, which hero do you choose to counter? Is it the Luna or the Kunkka or Necro? Is Batrider in the pool? Bat is in. Bat
Yes.
is... I know there's an Oracle. There's Oracle and Venge. But the core matchups are really good
That
in
sounds
lane.
unplayable.
It's actually... It is not unplayable, but Like the core matchups might not be good enough.
You just don't use your ult, basically. Is what you're saying.
I mean, the hero is, for a large part, is sticky napalm. Honestly, that's the key spell.
Mirana.
You have one bridge. But anyway, the core matchups were good. The supports weren't, so they go for something safer. Get Mirana. I think this is going to be a boxy Mirana, I guess. It's
that's
definitely
interesting.
Koikva Visage. You're not putting that on another player. Yeah.
Yep, Boxy Mirana.
Wonder what the logic is here. If it's just, let's have reach. We're going to slide chains. We're going to arrow. We have roll from a million yards away. Like, you just have everything with insane reach. And that is how they're going to counterplay Luna. Just stay away from her.
All right, gentlemen, we got our odds are up. Of course, our draft is powered by Betway, and we have almost 3-to-1 odds for Alliance. Team Liquid looking like Betway thinks they're going to win. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
Oh, keep in mind that this is, of course, for the best of 3, right? So it's the match
Yes.
winner, not the game winner. For the game winner, I would say it's a lot more close than this. But based on game 1, based on Alliance's downward trajectory right now, losing 3 games in a row, it's hard to not say Liquid's going to win again.
I'm going to go Alliance, the opposite of Cinderin again.
Absolutely.
Because
For
Necro
no reason
is
apart from that.
literally unkillable. You got the Venge swap, you have Oracle save and heal. You have other heroes that I don't remember on the team that help Necro survive. Okay? That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Great.
He will
Yes.
win. There's a Luna.
There is. That is a good
Sunset,
point.
shut the hell up.
That is a
Cinderin,
good point. Luna's 5-0, man.
Luna.
Alliance have the Luna. That's true, actually.
You can't change
Yeah,
your
they're probably
answer. It's
gonna-
too late.
No.
Locked it in.
Oh. Yep. I still go Liquid. But that's your best argument. They have Luna. That was better than the rest of them.
Thank
That
you
is
so much.
Absolutely true. Thank you so much. My genius panel, some would say the greatest panel in esports. It's been a pleasure. Let's swing on over to the casters,
Not
though.
many.
Owen and Trasco, welcome back, gentlemen. Take it over, father and son.
Thank you very much, Sax. Yeah, I mean, we're getting the Visage again, Andy. They did this time give Alliance the chance to respond with 2 picks. Do you like the way that they responded? I mean, one of those heroes is the Luna that does keep winning.
Yeah, I mean, I do like that they took the Luna. They were talking about it quite a bit on the panel. At least Cinderin, not the only person talking about the game on the panel. But no, it's definitely good in this game. It's got a really high win rate. I think 100% decent last time I checked, but we'll see if they can do it this time around. I do feel as though when you have a Visage and you're playing against a very high natural armor core like a Luna, you do run into some more problems. Like in game 1, there was a lot of squishy heroes on Alliance that the Visage could just eat through, right? Like a Queen of Pain, for example. Like Limp had to go for the Yules for the axe and then go back for Plate Mill, things like that. But in this game, there's going to be a Rum buff, and there's going to be a Luna with absurdly high armor on top of that. So I do feel like Koikva is going to run into maybe some, at least a little bit of trouble this game, I would hope.
Okay. And one of the other things that I've got to ask you about, Andy, something that we're going to see Boxy try and show us how it's done. The off-lane Mirana, is this something that you're happy to see and you're hoping is going to be making it into your pub soon?
Okay, so let me first start by saying I don't ever want it in my pubs because you know the Miranas that you get, okay? You're not going to get Boxy's Mirana. You're
No.
going to get the guy who is like AFK from his keyboard, comes back, he's like 4 position, and then he picks it last instead of just like first picking it because why would why wouldn't you do that? So that's the Mirana you're going to get. In that case, I absolutely don't want it. However, I do feel like in this type of game, like the enemy's safe lane Alliance is not really that scary kill potential wise, right? Like they have a couple of nukes, but it's not really going to be too hard, I think, for him to really just occupy the lane. Right now, it looks like he's either, yeah, he's just scouting for the courier. Okay. So FNG is going to see him. Not really much is going to happen here. But, I mean, I do feel like the rest of the pieces of Liquid's draft are good enough to kind of just make it work as S4.
It's getting gone on here. FNG has come in with the TP to try and provide some sort of help out for S4, but he's so low. Insania just started to right-click him down. He does get the chance to pop one more death
he's
bolt.
going all in.
He's going to live. South does get cancelled, but he will live, and Alliance will be the ones to claim first blood as Insania falls.
And he was real thirsty for that kill. And looking at lanes real quick, we do see that it's going to be the Visage in the side lane. Something that we don't see very often. Like Cinder was saying during the panel, you kind of want to put him mid just for, getting the familiars up as soon as possible. I guess for whatever reason, they really don't feel comfortable putting him mid against the Kunkka, or maybe it's that they want Mickey to be a much more active piece in this game because obviously Ember Spirit also does benefit greatly from having EXP.
No, you do get that benefit, I guess, having it in the tri lane. You know, this soul assumption, the damage adds up. Like this nuke, it hurts, and you're able to throw it out at such a high frequency with just that 4-second cooldown.
Yeah. My big issue with that is they're against an Oracle, and eventually FNG is going to have Fate's Edict. I don't know if he's going to skill it at 2 just because of the lane, but pretty much all the damage you're going to be taking from Liquid's tri lane is magic. Like Boulder is magic. You know, once he gets the rolling Boulder, that's also magic. Soul Assumption. A little bit of trading here.
Yeah, a bit of a poke onto Tiger, but it doesn't work out in their favor. I mean, that's the Soul Assumption, baby. It's so much damage early on.
Yeah, I don't even think he was expecting to take that much damage. I certainly didn't.
Yeah. And he's got plenty of those to spare. I mean, sure, it costs a bit of mana, but he's prepared. He's got a couple of mangoes ready to go, Quakefer, ready for the next few engagements. They've got to be careful. You cannot underestimate that huge nuke that flies out.
Well, it's just showing Liquid's experience with the hero, right? Like, they play Visage. I don't even... Isn't, like, Nigma the only other team that plays that hero? Maybe Secret? I don't know. I don't really know anyone else who plays it, as often as Liquid do. So if anyone's going to know how to run it, it's definitely going to be these boys.
All action on this top lane with the tri-lane versus tri-lane. Elsewhere, what are we getting? Limp in the mid, 18 for 2 against the 15 for 2 of Mickey. Pretty close. Pretty even stuff going on in that 1v1. And down bottom, Nico Baby, 15 for 5, 13 for 3. Again, pretty much just trading farm there between the two heroes. It really is just this top lane where you can expect all the action to happen. Very unlikely that you're going to see any sort of kills happen elsewhere before the movements coming from the supports.
I wonder if this was their plan all along on Liquid to kind of put this 1v1 where the Mirana's going to be really high level. We do see a roll top.
S4 gets kicked back, but this time they're going to be able to turn onto Tiger. Tiger gets taken down, but again, the Soul Assumption, bam, S4's out. So sure, they lost Tiger, but they're killing the core. S4 dying yet again on this top lane to the tri-lane of Liquid.
You love that trade if you're Liquid. You'll take that every day. This Necro is going to feel pretty rough if he's not having a good start. If he doesn't get any items, like the Visage is going to tear him apart. There's probably going to be a Vessel coming up from Liquid, most likely on the Ember. Maybe they have Taiga by, I guess, depending on how the game goes. Another roll here.
The fight, it just never stops on this top lane with the tri versus tri action. Over towards FNG. He's able to keep his distance here. They can't quite get a follow-up lockdown. Boulder's still on cooldown for 5 seconds. They have to be careful how far forward S4 steps forward, especially with the ability of Tiger to sort of peel in and kick him away from the rest of his backup.
Yeah, the thing about Necro as well is, like, look at how slow this hero is. He's 280 movement speed. He is a snail in a lane like this where you have that Earth Spirit that you have to constantly be worrying about, so... Lots of action still. Mickey's got a bottled haste, by the way. So if he does make a rotation top, it could be devastating.
See, this time Tiger looks like he'll go down without finding anything in return. Alliance more than fine there as he tried to commit, didn't hit the connection with the rolling boulder. So this time around, Alliance able to keep S4 alive whilst they take a kill on the support of Liquid.
And look at this difference in the Mirana and the Luna's net worth. And Boxy's even going to be able to secure both bounties on the bottom side of the map if he wants to. I guess he's leaving the other one for Mickey. So he's going to get X here. Triple Remnant.
Ooh, Mickey.
The solo kill.
That's going to feel good. Blowing up a Kunkka like that. You know, a hero that's not a squishy one. This is a guy with a fair amount of strength to start off with. But Mickey sees the chance to dive in and blow him up.
Yeah, that level 6 timing.
He knew it was enough. You know, not always are you throwing in the 3 remnants to go for something like that, but Mickey knew he had it in him.
Middle lane's kind of an island this game. Not a lot of action going to be going on there unless it's a 1 versus 1. We're going to see a TP from FNG towards bot. Looks like Nico's saying, hey guys, I'm actually not winning this lane. The Mirana's doing very well and is also taking my bounty runes. Maybe it's time to change up the way we're handling our laning situation, because I really don't think it was working out for Alliance.
No, for sure. I mean, as you say, you know, Boxy was leading the CS. I mean, is that expected? Is it easier to CS as a Mirana? Nice attack animation?
Well, it's not just about necessarily the CSing. It's just about your range. Like, you're 630 attack range on a Mirana. Luna's only, 330, so it's quite low. But even in this situation, I would still favor Liquid. Like in the 2v2, I think Liquid's lane stronger down here, and in the 1v1, I still feel like it's stronger. So maybe their plan with putting the Visage in the side lane was that it would set up for better 1v1s for both of their other core heroes. And in that sense, it's actually quite effective.
Yeah, I think, I mean, as you say, they are taking the hit in the fact that Quoifer isn't getting a lot of farm up there, but
we saw that last game too, right? Like he was getting dumpstered by Limp, and then it just didn't
that's
matter.
True.
Yeah, he made his comeback.
Yeah, you're right. He did have a very slow start last game and ended up walking away without dying at all, and getting very good timing on his auras with the helm, the AC, and the pipe.
Yeah, that's why it's always important when you see these like Visage picks and stuff and people try to like run it in a pub. It's because they have a thorough understanding of how the hero plays in the game, not just for the first like 9 minutes. So they understand that this hero is going to be able to make some kind of a comeback with his familiar farming and such, and then he'll be the piece that they need him to be, you know, once Mickey and Boxy start making moves.
Yeah, and talking about when Mickey does begin to make those moves, do you think the Alliance have enough sort of catch to threaten this Ember, or does Mickey feel pretty safe playing in aggressively this game?
I think X is always tricky. I mean, you can definitely avoid it as an Ember, but there's a lot of mind games that go on, like Xing and not torrenting and stuff like that, and trying to get him to use his spells. S4 maybe dead again here.
Lucky he has
body
one
blocked
charges
by
and the
Handskin.
infused ray drop. That was...
Yeah.
I mean, right, this Visage, it just pretty much 100 to 0'd S4.
Yep. I mean, he hit level 6 first as well, so the supports on the side of Liquid, like not sapping as much of the experience during the early game, like S4 just hit level 5 right now off that wave. So now this lane is kind of, you can see how much he doesn't want to be here. Even with Handskin standing next to him, what's Handskin going to do against Familiars? He doesn't have Swap. Like, it's really hard to just occupy this lane right now if you're Alliance, for anyone.
S4's just trying his best to have a look in at the creeps, but and you can certainly feel it a step placed in the wrong direction, and S4's going to get gone on immediately by Quoifer. Sitting around the mid, Limp has been able to take the lead back using the ability to farm those side camps as quickly as he can. He does have the advantage now in CS. And down bottom, with the way they've moved around, having FNG get the bit of safety towards Nico Baby. It's keeping Nico Baby's farm okay, but still it is Boxy that's just having the time of his life down. He's 46 and 14, he's still farming better than the Luna, and with the help of Tiger, he's getting kills as well.
Yeah, the setup of the Earth Spirit, really nice roll in, easy kill. And again, it's not like, you know, Nico Baby doesn't even have Eclipse skill. So even if he were to walk back into lane, they kind of are just being left on islands, it seems like, because not any one of the lane supports or even the cores from Alliance can really help each other when an initiation happens, because they don't have all the spells that are necessary in order to take fights yet. Like, we don't have the False Promise, we don't have Nether Swap. You know, there is a boat available, but Limp is still kind of focusing on his own game right now in mid. So whenever there's an initiation by Liquid, it's pretty much just being unanswered currently by Alliance.
Yeah, when does that change? Is it just when
it has to be
sixes
ults?
are there?
Yeah, I think, yeah, Handskin needs swap. They are going to get a Dispel onto the Flame Guard in mid, which is kind of helpful, I suppose. But you can kind of tell that Alliance don't really feel confident really showing their heroes anywhere. Like, top is hard to occupy because of the reasons we already talked about. They are going to throw a boat onto Boxy.
Yeah, but with the
pretty tough kill.
Moonlight Shadow already out, and it barely scratches him at all. He's got a lot of HP ready to play with still. Pops the one, he's back up to full. They get the roll, and there's the arrow falling onto FNG. Boxy, he's not going to try and commit to finish off the kill, though. There's still the presence of both Limp and Nico Baby in the neighborhood, so Boxy will let it go.
God, Liquid's movement looks so nice right now. They get, like, every single bounty rune. They even aggressively are farming these stacks that Alliance has spent so much time putting together, and they're not even going to get these. Like, this is so bad for Alliance, honestly. Like, this is looking real rough.
I mean, yeah, that sort of bouncy play into those stack stealing, it's an instant 2k lead up on the net worth at just 10 minutes in.
Yeah, Liquid are playing this early game exceptionally well. Like, they know how strong they are. They can just walk into any location on the map with a core and a support and feel confident in occupying that space. You saw how big of a reaction Alliance had there just to try to force them out of that triangle area where the stacks were, and they couldn't even do it. Like, bottom lane.
Down bottom, they're just diving in underneath the tower. FNG has hit the 6, so we'll be able to put the False Promise. TPs are coming in. Boxy instantly goes for his own TP out of there. He'll manage to make it away, Tiger. He's got the roll up in a few seconds, and he'll be fine. He's able to get into the trees. So they don't get the kill, but they do manage to make sure that they don't get turned around themselves. And if anything, they have forced FNG to use the False Promise. So even though he's hit the 6, they've still got a good window where maybe they can look to dive somewhere else, and they know that this Oracle can't come in with the save.
Yeah, I mean, it's... For right now, Alliance, they just have to look for silver linings, because Liquid are the ones who kind of hold all the control, right? Like, Insania is just chilling up top. He's pushing out a wave. He's level 6 already. Gonna see another roll onto S4 into an arrow.
Liquid's gone. He's absolutely gone. There's no way to stay alive there. Try to help himself with the Ghost Shroud, but they just have so much magical damage that the Ghost Shroud doesn't really help him at all. If anything, it just means that he dies that little bit quicker. As the rest of Alliance, they're still hiding in the trees. See if they're able to find anything here. The boat coming out does manage to land onto Boxy. Boxy leaps to the side. He's still got one leap ready to go and a wand. So he's fine. More than enough health to stay alive. Turns with the arrow, won't find the connection. They're pushing them in underneath the tower. Look at Mickey's aggression. He's just poking, prodding. He knows that FNG still hasn't got that false promise. The Will-O-Wisp is down, cleaning up the trees. FNG, he's going to go down. They could try for even more. Boxy jumps in towards Hanskin. Hanskin goes for the TP out, will make it away just in time. Tiger kick back onto the Kunkka to keep Tiger alive. He's okay. Limp's left behind. The three of them surround him. Liquid, they're going to be able to slowly but surely claim another life of Alliance.
This is kind of rough to watch, Owen, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, that dive, they're just getting styled on currently. The whole way this kicks off, they initiate onto S4, and he has an Oracle, and obviously the Venge isn't 6 yet, so we can't really count Hanskin as an actual save. But they did have the Fate's Edict and Fortune's End. So when the Earth Spirit initiates, typically how the matchup goes when you have an Oracle on your team is that the Oracle will dispel everything the Earth Spirit does if the Oracle is not the one receiving the spells, right? Because if you get silenced, obviously you can't dispel yourself. But if they're jumping on someone else, he had both of his supports in the area and neither one of them were standing behind him. Like, what's going on here with Alliance? Like, where's the communication? They were like a screen away from him when he got hit by the roll, right? That's kind of what I mean. Like, someone should be there.
No, it's definitely looking a bit rough. I mean, Alliance, you must have seen it yesterday, that game.
Oh, yeah.
That they lost against OG. Ever since that loss, they have just looked a little bit all over the place. As you say, just moments where coordination it's not there.
I think after that particular match, they might feel differently about Slack's Wind Ranger video. Because those shackles,
I think a lot of people did. Yeah,
they ruined them. And, you know, I mean, I guess you could be a little bit shook from a match like that, but I like to think that these players are experienced enough to be able to just be like, okay, you know what, it's a new day. Let's just try to play the game the way we want to play it. But it just seems like Liquid's heroes, they play so fast, and they have essentially no cooldowns. Like, their longest cooldown is Will-O-Wisp, right? 130 seconds, and then Magnetize is 100 down to 80 at level 3. Oh. So they can just fight constantly. There's never a point where they can't react.
S4, he was trying to have a poke there behind the tower. The arrow comes through, will clean up the Hellbear Smasher. Easy plus 200. The Will-O-Wisp is down onto the three of them, into the familiar stuns as well. The Magnetize Alliance, they've got to be careful. The boat comes crashing in. The false promise is there to keep Nico Baby alive. He's trying to turn with the Eclipse. They do get the Torrent. The Reaper Cypher's down. S4 will be able to claim the kill, but he's lost his own life. The Magnetize is still being kept on them. Tiger keeping it on them for the entirety of this fight, pushing them all back. See if Liquid can get anything more out of this. It is the 2-for-1. Alliance are able to take Mickey out of the game, but again, it's costing them heroes.
That was actually not too bad of a salvage, though, from Alliance. Like, if we're being honest, they got the Kata ulti dropped on them. The arrow, fortunately, hit the Hellbear Smasher, I think, so it didn't make contact with the hero, which was nice. And the boat buff just kept them tanky enough to be able to live through, like, the initial onslaught that Liquid was throwing at them. If that boat didn't hit when it did, it probably just would have been like a 3 or 4-0 in favor of Liquid. And FNG finding out why it really sucks to play against Visage as an Oracle.
Yeah, he's got Nico Baby by his side, so Quakefor will be a bit careful, and maybe Quakefor poked a bit too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, Limp's going to be able to catch, and yeah, Quakefor, he was very, very deep and on his own. I mean, I guess he just really wanted to kill that Oracle. Ends up getting himself killed as he dives into Alliance's jungle with no backup.
Yeah, look at the wards though, Owen. Like he had to have seen them, right? Am I crazy?
No, he must have seen. Well, I guess he didn't see Nico Baby.
He might have seen like one of them, I guess. Yeah,
he must have seen someone else other than just FNG. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, a little bit odd. Alliance potentially looking at the Roche pit. It's quite hard though. They don't really have any minus armor besides Hanskin. Okay, they're just going for the fight.
Let's see if they can do anything more with this momentum, Alliance. But it was Tiger, Limp. Has he got the grab with the X mark he has? Tiger, he will not be able to play his way out of this one. Drag back into the stun. They get the clean kill onto the Earth Spirit. So Alliance starting to find some form themselves, moving around as a unit, getting these pickoffs. Trying their best to slow down Liquid's game and make sure that Nico Baby's going to have the chance to take over as this Luna.
He is currently the highest net worth, which is a good sign. So if you're an Alliance fan and you're looking for them to make a comeback into this game, Nico Baby is definitely the guy you want to be looking at. And Limp, I really love the itemization. He's going for the Crimson, recognizing that most of the damage that is really scary for the supports, at least, is the Visage, right? So when you pop that Crimson, it more or less makes your supports invulnerable to Visage birds for, you know, X amount of time. So that means that you can get your spells off, you don't have to worry about a Familiar and an Alpha Wolf just like straight up killing you, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And there is a Roshan attempt coming out here.
And they're getting away with this. It's half HP.
They don't kill it that fast.
Coming across, they poke in, swap back on Mickey, but there's no follow-up. The Will-O-Wisp is there, down onto the 3. The 4 of them actually. Nico Baby steps forward as well. He's trying to kill off the Will-O-Wisp, but not before they lose hand scan. Another drag, bringing Nico Baby back in range of Koikfa and Tiger. Rolls forward, they have him in position, but the saves there from FNG. False Promise comes out, they turn with the Eclipse. X-Mark onto Insania. Nico Baby trying to step forward, but another slight change from Mickey comes out. He's being buffed up by Insania, refilling him, giving him remnants to play with. Jumps forward, roll forward. They've managed to kill off the Luna. Nico Baby dies on the front lines. Limp falls as well. The rest of Alliance just trying to bail out of there, but they're not going to be able to escape. S4's chased down. Boxy picks up the double. And Roche, it's at half HP. Liquid, they can head in, and with the help of the arrow from Boxy stunning it up, they're going to be able to take this themselves.
That was a really risky move from Alliance. Maybe they felt cornered, you know? It's kind of a similar feeling to Game 1. It's just, where's the damage? It seems like their lineup shouldn't really be lacking in the damage department just because they have like Eclipse, they have Kunkka, they have Reaper, all these things. And we have seen those abilities used to some success when they killed Mickey in mid when that fight kind of kicked off by the tier 1. But it doesn't really feel like they have quite enough in the tank to just secure that one important core kill and then move on to the next target. Whereas Liquid, they have tons of disengage. They can just keep reinitiating over and over and over again, however many times it takes for them to get the look that they want. Because like Mirana is very mobile, Earth Spirit, Ember Spirit, mobile heroes, Coddle sits in the back, you know, Visage sits in the back. So they just seem to be really comfortable playing these heroes that can just weave in and out of the fights however they see fit, and they're making it look good.
Yeah, and Liquid themselves, they have so much damage. I mean, look at Boxy's build. This treads into MKB. He's 505. I do have to remind all our viewers, this is a trained professional. Do not try this at home in your offlane, in your pubs.
Please
just going offlane Mirana, rushing MKB. But Boxy, he's a master. 505. He's making this hero look excellent in this role. And he's just doing, he really is, he's just doing so much damage in the fight. Whoever he leaps in and starts punching, they just get melted.
His itemization is on point. I can't, this is, I don't know if I'm ever going to say this again, but this is definitely a good Mirana game after seeing how it's played out. Because of the way they set up the lanes, they enabled him to get a 1v1 that he would feel comfortable enough in to succeed. And he like bullied Nico Baby as well. Yeah, Alliance just sitting, you know, the classic 2 supports behind 1 core because they're terrified. Here we go.
S4. Ooh, he's lucky that was a long TP. Doesn't mean that the arrow timing wasn't quite there. Still, Liquid, they're poking at this from the Moonlight Shadow. They're moving on towards Limp. Tiger rolls towards the backlines. They're trying to find FNG, trying to push him away to make sure he can't come in with the False Promise. In from the side, Nico Baby pops the Eclipse. Is it going to be actually enough damage to kill anyone? It isn't. Liquid stay off to the side. Roll away from Tiger. False Promise having to be used on himself, FNG. They do manage to get the stuns onto Mickey, but he still has the chance to pop the side of Fist. The silence from Tiger is onto the 3 of them. Remnant 4 from Mickey. Mickey falling low, but he's got the Aegis. He doesn't even care. The arrow connection after the chains onto Limp. He's not even going to go down the once. Mickey is fine. The Magnetizers kept going as they have to retreat. They have to escape, but they can't. Boxy picks up the triple kill, jumping forward. Only Nico Baby and S4 left alive. They have to split. They have to get out of here. But here comes the right clicks. Boxy with the ultra kill. You know he's not done. He tries to get lucky with the arrow. Won't find the angle, but even so, Boxy's Mirana just blowing away Alliance this game.
This is probably one of the best Mirana performances you're going to see, mostly because people just don't pick Mirana. But let's be honest, Foxy's playing out of his mind this game. Very good itemization. He's always in the right spot at the right time. He's going to see S4 here as well. Maybe go for the Hail Mary arrow. Quite hard to hit in this position.
He has a little bit of a poke. S4. He's going to turn, but he has 12k lead now for Liquid. Every single one of these fights going very, very nicely. It really is a repeat again with this Visage. You know, as we saw, it didn't need an insane beginning in the lane in terms of farm. He's still got his items, and he's still such a nuisance in these fights. He's 4-1 on an 8 quote, but he requires so many resources to be dealt with, and resources that Alliance haven't got free to spare on him.
Oh, they are going to find Boxy, though.
Finally ending him.
Him. Yeah, inside of the woods. Seems like that's the area where Liquid like to casually feed their cores. I don't know. Like Quickfoot died there earlier, and now Boxy's going to die there as well. I mean, it's fine for them. They're still at an enormous advantage. It's not like it really changes too much. Roshan's not up. I don't think that Alliance are going to feel comfortable in pushing right now. But it is, the Visage just seems to be something that this team understands very, very well. Like, they put him in a side lane. Your first inclination, you know, as a Dota player, is to go, well, doesn't this hero kind of want EXP? And then you realize that as soon as you get 6, you just farm really, really fast. And your 6 timing isn't really that important if your mid player and your offlane player are both super high level and also having great games on top of that. So it's not only just that he understands like how to itemize and play the hero himself, but the team knows how to fit it into the draft. So I feel like Alliance, on the other hand, they put one of the slowest heroes in the game, a Necrophos, in the offlane and against a tri-lane, and then kept that tri-lane even to a point where I feel like it was detrimental to their lineup. And then they did like a late swap by putting one of the supports bottom with Nico Baby, who had already lost his lane by that point. And after that, it just felt like their lineup just isn't... It doesn't feel powerful really at any point versus what Liquid are bringing.
At least not until some super late portion where Nico Baby is starting to build a damage item. Because you just look across the cores, and it really is the same case as the last game. Where is the damage? Especially, you know, Limp in this mid lane role. He's gone for this Crimson into the Lotus Orb. He's building fully defensively and to make sure that Nico Baby can have a game. But obviously Nico Baby's the Looney. He's going for this Manta and then for this BKB. Then he'll get some sort of right-click item online, and it just all feels a little too slow in a game where Liquid, as I say, we've seen with Boxy, he has this MKB rush. You know, they have, for instance, their offlane hero just doing insane amounts of right-click damage in a team fight, and Alliance just don't have anything to match that.
Yeah, it's just kind of unfortunate. I feel like their drafts today have not been the most inspired, you know. Like Liquid are playing their style, and they're doing it well.
Oh, they found S4. Hanscan will be there with a swap to try and save him, but he still gets caught in the familiar stun, pops the Ghost Shroud. He's trying to run, but again, it's just Alliance having to split. They cannot help one another. They've just got to try and individually save themselves, as S4 and Hanscan left behind.
I feel like at this point Alliance are more or less just all-inning on Nico Baby. That's really all they can do. You can see the Kunkka's itemization. I think you mentioned he went back for a plate mill after the Crimson. He's going for the Lotus. And then they are just going to put a bunch of buffs on Nico Baby and be like, I choose you. Please kill everyone on Liquid or we're in big trouble.
Limp's waiting and hoping that he gets a bit of a catch with this Invis rune, but as it will be, nobody from Liquid stepping up there. Boxy with his BKB done. I mean, the fact that you do have both cores with that BKB basically making them invincible in these fights, as physical damage is just not present right now from Alliance's heroes.
I think after a series like this, if you're Alliance, you go back and you just go, why didn't we just ban Visage game too? Because it feels like that hero has done, even just by being in the game, it makes it awkward, you know, because of the way that the lanes worked out.
It's the fact that we're at this 25-minute mark again, and he's just got everything that his team wants him to have. Pipe, AC, Helm. Like you start pushing in with this Visage, and this sort of strategical investment into these items and hitting them this early, it just makes Mickey and Boxy's games so darn good that, and sure, normally we see this where there's like the carry is a right clicker, but because you have both the carry and your offlaner doing so much right click damage, the value is, it's amazing. But Boxy is caught out. They do manage to turn and blow him up before he pops a BKB. A very big pick for Alliance, as Boxy just doesn't BKB in time, feeling overconfident, jumping in, and they're able to turn. S4 immediately latching him down with the Reaper's Scythe.
Yeah, he does not hesitate on that thing. He did it to Mickey earlier in mid, did it again there to Boxy. I mean, it was a clean move. It was very, very well executed. It's just, you know, it's a drop in the bucket. They need to get a lot more of those types of things going if they want to make their true, like, comeback into this game. Roshan's going to be spawning in a little under a minute, so be looking to see if Alliance are trying to contest or if they just want to play the side lane game. I feel that's really where this lineup kind of just doesn't play well is when it comes to side lanes. Because you're playing against Mirana, so you have Moonlight Shadow to worry about. You have the Ember, you have the Earth Spirit, these heroes that are highly mobile and super threatening to slow heroes like Necrophos and even a Luna, who is quite a bit faster, obviously. But there's just no, there's no mobility on Alliance's draft. So when you're playing side lanes against a team like Liquid's, and they have the ability to jump you from 2 screens away, you kind of feel like you have to play this compact style where you play the support behind the core. And if you don't have control of the map and you're playing support behind the core, you just kind of get out GPM'd and out experience per minute, and it's kind of being reflected in Liquid continuing to grow their lead.
And the line being drawn by Liquid, they will group up for the smoke. Want to try and pounce. They know that the Reaper's Scythe still down for 25. Has pretty much been the sole tool that's allowed the Lions to get these kills whilst behind Limp. They managed to find him. They're going to start poking away. He's got a torrent, slows down. This Aegis and Cheese will be theirs. And then once that's in their hands, you can certainly expect Liquid to start closing in on the tier 2s and approaching high ground.
Well, we'll see if Nico Baby can maybe do some creep cutting shenanigans. I mean, again, it's really hard. Even with the 10-second BKB, he doesn't even feel confident hitting the tier 1. It's kind of like a sad state of affairs, right? Because you're this core hero, you're the one, you really want to try to help your team, but the truth is, there hasn't really been much happening in the game to enable Nico Baby's play at all. He needs to be able to walk in and hit stuff, and it feels impossible, right? If there's a 5-man unit of Liquid just walking down a lane with an Aegis, what do you do? It's the same story as game 1.
Back in. Limps here by the tier 2. TP's over. Alliance in position. Has 5 very much ready for any moves from Liquid. Even if they do come, the question is whether Alliance can turn on them. It's all on S4 to get that Reaper Scythe slammed down onto one of the carries before they BKB, and relying on the rest of his team to bring them down underneath the threshold. They're watching him. Okay, coming in from the side. They're going to start the fight. Leads in with the chains already. Tiger rolls straight forward to the back lines. The Will-O-Wisp down onto the 3-4 of them. In fact, grabbing them all back. There'll be a swap trying to get S4 out of it. But S4, he's so low. The first soul disruption comes out, takes out the Vengeful Spirit. BKB, popped by Tiger, has also got it ready to fight with. Rolls over as they move in. Mickey tries to come in onto Nico Baby. The Eclipse comes out. But Mickey, with his BKB, he doesn't care at all about the Eclipse. He's got another Remnant. Throws it out to back away. There's been a buyback from Hansken. Mickey, he doubles back in with the Remnant again. Hansken comes with the swap. Reaper Scythes out. But this time it's not enough damage. Mickey will not fall. Ghost Shroud is not going to save S4. It buys him a little bit of time. There's the Soul Assumption, the kick forward. S4's down. No buyback on him. Liquid can continue to push in onto this tier 2 with the Visage and her birds. And Mickey, throughout it all, he doesn't even lose the Aegis. He's now got the money to complete his Aghanim Scepter. This game continuing to get tougher and tougher for Alliance to hold on to.
You could see, how helpless Nico Baby feels in these fights. He BKBs, he's autoing, he pops his Eclipse, That's the point as a Luna where you should feel like you are the strongest. Mickey using a Remnant there for an illusion. Not too worried about it though, I'm sure, given the current state of affairs, but I don't know, man. These types of lineups, Alliance have some catch, they have X and offensive swap, but you're sacrificing heroes to do that. They're just going in.
They're just going straight in. Kicking Limp outside of the base. Limp, he's gone, or maybe not. FNG, last millisecond, coming in with a false promise, will keep Limp momentarily alive. They're salving him up, meching him as well through it all, so he will heal back up to a safe amount of health. Limp will live thanks to the fast reaction of FNG. They even get the swap back onto Mickey. Mickey, one more slight, but they are able to take away the Aegis. Can they do it a second time? It doesn't look like they'll be able to, as Mickey gets the Flame Guard off. He's been glimmered, pops the Essence Ring, he's able to move away. Very nice arrow there from Boxy. Came in onto Limp just as Limp was trying to prime the Torrent to catch him as he came out of that.
Yeah, I mean, you can just see, where is the damage? There just really isn't any. And it feels like when you look at the Visage versus Luna kind of matchup and how the heroes want to play, because obviously they both kind of played as one this game, even though the Luna doesn't really care about your birds that much, you can't utilize Eclipse as effectively as you would want, because you're always going to be dealing with the Dominator creep and 2 familiars as long as the Visage is in the fight. So you're kind of splitting your damage pretty heavily whenever you pop that Eclipse in a 5 versus 5 engagement, and it just doesn't feel like You know, we talked about game 1 where the Luna's this kind of physical magic damage dealing monster, but we're not feeling it this game because he's either hitting a BK bead or flame guarded Ember, Visage Familiars, or 2 heroes that stand like a million miles away from the fight, and a Coddle and a Mirana, and then Taiga, who also has his own BKB. So Eclipse basically is just not even a skill right now.
No, they just BKB or roll away or remnants away.
Yeah, it's real tough.
Ways to escape.
Maybe they solved the Luna. Oh, and maybe that's what Liquid have going for them right now.
No, I think by the looks of it, they may have. A hero that's been winning time and time again, but Liquid have come in and they're shutting it down hard. 21k lead right now as they look to try and kick off another fight. Silence from Taiga catches the 3 of them. The Will-O-Wisp is out. They move in, committing on to Lim. Lim, he is not going to be able to live himself. Does manage to get close enough for FNG to come in with the false promise. Mickey pots the BKB. Nico Baby's Eclipse doing some work, but just not enough right now. Taiga rolling in, no fear whatsoever. The Reaper's Scythe will manage to slam down Mickey. But the rest of Alliance, they're having to retreat. Hansken with the swap out, but this magnetized Taiga, he's just keeping it on them for the entirety of this fight once again. Rolls over on towards FNG, kicking him back into the clutches of the rest of his team. Limp tries to step forward, but he's the last man standing, and he will finally go down as well. It's a team wipe. Liquid kill them all. 28-9. The net worth lead just continuing to grow. Alliance, they just can't get a foot in this game.
It's just so hard to play a lineup where you're behind and you don't have the mobility advantage, right? I mean, that's kind of been the story of the game. Every time there's an initiation, you can see Taiga, like you said, he's in the fight forever. He gets like 5 stones down to propagate his magnetize, and it outlasted the boat buff. Like, that's how long they were magnetized for. They just don't have enough damage anymore to really just get that one kill. It's kind of been the story of the entire game. Even in the mid lane, like, Lim solo died. Like, Mickey killed him, he hit 6. Obviously, like, those types of plays are really hard to deal with because you don't know exactly how much experience the other guy has. But then after that, everyone's just getting, like, killed in these team fights, and there's no damage being dealt to really any of the cores on the side of Liquid. The only time they ever get a kill from Alliance is a Reaper combo. That's it. Like, they killed Mickey, and then they lost everyone.
Yep. I mean, and that's sort of what hurts about it the most, right? You know, if you are, as this Necro, getting these Reapers kills but just not able to do anything with the extended time that the hero's dead, it's like, well, what does the kill actually count for at all? You're getting a nice cash bonus, but you're just unable to do anything with it because you're always having to use it in situations where your whole team's just dying.
Yeah, it's always been a thing in Dota where it's not really like pure rock, paper, scissors, but there are certain things that your lineup wants to have. One of them is normally catch. And it's just a term that loosely describes, can we jump on a hero when they don't expect it and kill him, right? And that's what your Kunkka is for in this lineup. But the issue that they're running into is he's the only guy who can do it, and there are like 3 heroes that really need to die on Liquid. And S4 is just going for this bounty rune.
That was close.
Yeah, lots of damage on Boxy.
Very, very close with that MKB Daedalus done. Chains are in, they're ready to kick off another fight here, Liquid. Over they go, straight on a Hanskin. The Will-O-Wisp down, they pot the BKBs, roll forward from Taiga. He's trying to keep FNG at bay. He cannot get close enough to save S4. FNG pops the false promise onto Nico Baby, trying to give the Luna some way of escaping. But it's another huge cleanup from Liquid as Boxy claims the triple kill. I mean, here's KDA just getting fatter and fatter. 14, 2, and 15 this game. I mean, all of them on Liquid are just having stellar performances because of the high involvement from every single member. You know, all of these plays, they're happening as a 5-man, they're happening as a unit. You know, it's a great game as well for the Keeper of the Light, Insania. He's holding on to 6k gold in the bank. He's going to just be able to buy a straight up entire Hex.
I just want to point out, by the way, now that we're talking about Insania, this guy didn't even skill Blinding Light until, like, I don't even know, it was either 10 or 11, I think he skilled it. He just played side lanes the whole game. He's like, hey, if I push these lanes, I know my team will make stuff happen on the map. And then again, that's just like real thorough understanding of what their lineup is meant to do, because he's really the only one who wants to do it. You don't want to show Ember too much. I mean, Visage is going to be farming the woods a lot. Boxy might show in a lane here and there, but he is basically like the dedicated wave clear this game, and it's showing. He's got, you know, he's the trust fund baby this game.
There we go, rain tracks taken. They will manage to push them away from the melee racks for now. But it doesn't feel much more than, you know, just Liquid giving some you know, sort of, you know, but playing with their food a bit. They know that they're at such a lead. I mean, it's
Yeah,
hard
it's
for
insane.
not to. Looking at their items, they know. And yeah, as we see, Nico Baby, he's going for it. It's the only way. I mean, it's not guaranteed to be the way, but it's a chance of
He
finding
can't
the way of
not
turning it
do it.
around.
Yeah, he has to do it.
he has to.
I mean, Rapier is one of those items that is, I feel, still maybe a little bit underpurchased still. Just because it gives you an unbelievable power spike, and the item got buffed so many times in a row. It used to be way less damage, and now it's just permanent True Strike. So you can't miss, right? Unless it's buildings, I think, or something like that. I don't know. Dota interactions are weird. But anyway, there are a lot of times when you can just get that item on a core hero with an Aegis, and the game will just end. Because the enemy team, even if they have buybacks, they won't be able to commit on the hero like a Luna. You know, Gyro obviously is not super popular right now, but he was also one of the guys who used to buy it a lot. And then you have like your Medusas and such. So I think it's actually quite strong if you feel confident in your ability to just win like one engagement, then you can just end. But yeah, here we go.
Is it strong enough to turn around a 34k lead, though?
Okay, that I don't know. I just really like talking about the item because I feel it's one of those things where Dota players are oftentimes very stubborn, obviously myself included, and we really just hate to do stuff differently than how we think it should be done, right? Maybe that's just humans, I don't know. But I think it's just one of those items that people, like Necrobook. Necrobook was the same for a very long time. And then all of a sudden, everyone just starts buying it because they see like 1 or 2 games of a guy doing well with the item, right? I feel like Rapier could very easily be the same thing.
Oh, he's so close.
I mean, he's
So
definitely going
close.
to buy it.
I mean, yeah, he's going to get, if they stick around and push this tier 2 in another wave, he'll have it.
He's also got a
gonna sell the
leveler, which
helm.
is, yeah, that's
gonna
good.
sell
That's
the
a good
helm.
call. All in, hero, and all in.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. Oh, Mickey. He's in and he's out. Nico Baby steps in. They have got the Hex onto Limp. They will have seen the Rapier now, you would have imagined. The Will-O-Wisp down and out. Nico Baby, does he want to try and commit the BKB? He'll put the BKB, takes out the Will-O-Wisp, turns over towards Mickey. There's the damage. It is forcing the Ember to back up. No, they pops the Eclipse, but already Liquid are out of range of this one. They turn with the Soul Assumption, and now the BKB. Oh no, it's ended on Nico Baby. Nico Baby is vulnerable. He needs help. Is he going to get in time? Pots the man to try to retreat. FNG, he's in with a false promise just in time. They're moving to the side. The boat, it comes crashing down. They're trying to turn, but the Will-O-Wisp is causing so many issues for Alliance. They have to step out of the range of it, and they lose the life of Nico Baby. They didn't have enough heals to keep him up. No buyback on them. Boxy, he'll claim his trophy, picks up the Rapier, and whoa, that's a straight DC. Limp just pieces out of here as GG is called. The tips are there. Liquid know that Limp is just done with this game. He's done with this series.
I mean, I don't think I can blame him. It's kind of a frustrating game to play when I feel like strategically you're just at the disadvantage. That's like the hardest win to acquire in Dota, is when you have been outdrafted like heavily, right? And I don't feel like this game was maybe even as bad as game number 1, but the way the lane shaped up, both, you know, solo players on Liquid getting the advantage over their counterparts on Alliance, and then, you know, Boxy having a standout performance where he basically just goes around and kills every single person on the map. He did have that one like kind of random death, which is, you know, already at a point where I feel like Liquid maybe couldn't have lost the game at that point. But overall, just Liquid strategy, the way they laned, the way they played, is excellent. Very good performance.
Yeah, every single member just playing into the highest standard there. And Alliance, they've just looked, as I said, they've looked broken since that loss in the game 1 of the series against OG yesterday. They just haven't been able to find that magic, that power that they've really started to build up. You know, this squad, Alliance, they've looked very impressive on many of the previous tournaments, but here at the Blast Bounty Hunt, they just fallen apart entirely, Drask.
Yeah, I don't know what happened this game. I mean, we even talked about bottom lane S4 and his supports like not being close enough to even use spells on him when Liquid initiated, and they were like a screen away or something like that. I don't know. Maybe there was some not. I don't want to say dissension, but you know, obviously they're not communicating as well as maybe they could. So I don't know what the deal is for Alliance. Hopefully they kind of break out of the funk, but at least for this series, man, Liquid, they're the boys.
They certainly are. Any sort of closing words, Andy, to all the aspiring players out there that are instantly queuing up a pub and are ready to first pick Mirana on the off lane and go for a similar build to Boxy here?
I think it's just important to always try to understand what your hero's purpose is in the game. Make sure that you are buying an item for a reason and picking a hero for a reason. For example, this game, Mirana very good against Luna because all of her spells are pretty much useless against you because you can simply leap away. You build right-click damage because that's what your team is lacking, so when you can click on the one hero who needs to be killed by physical damage, which is the Luna, you can actually kill her, which is basically how Boxy played this game. So that's why I was talking about his itemization, all that stuff. Do stuff with